What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Train, as usual. Hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. And you see my man here, Freddie from Leave It to Me Sports. Freddie, how's your day going, man? How's your day going?
You know what? It's going great, man. It's Friday, people. It's Friday.
Yes, Friday, sir. Yes, people. Sir. Now, when the episode drops, it might not be Friday, but it is Friday when we recording it. So,
Hey, but for whatever it's worth, every day is a Friday if you're living life the right way, right?
Yeah, it's a slow process to get there, though. It's a slow process to get there. You get
Facts on wax. Facts on wax.
We got to grind out here. We got to grind. That's right. It's a Friday, but I am drinking water. This is water. We got a little some sponsors. I don't know if
shout out to
Starbucks. Starbucks is sponsoring us today. Not really, but hey,
shout out to Wegmans.
Wegmans is tough.
Red wine to keep you fine.
It will too. You might need to drink a little bit more though, Freddie. So,
hey, listen, man, we got some things to talk about. So, the more you talk now, the worse it's gonna be for you throughout the show. So,
I feel like you were trying to get the fan base on your side a little bit right there. That's tampering, Freddie. That's tampering, and that's kind of going.
Speaking of tampering.
That's tampering, bro. Like, listen, and your Knicks is over there tampering people. He's a Knicks fan. Notice he didn't want to wear any orange today, though, unlike last time.
No.
That. You thought, like, oh, no, the orange is going to get laughed at again. Nah, I got y'all. He brought it back out. Okay. You keep it small, though. You keep it small. Keep it low-key. I understand.
Listen, I'm telling you, listen. Before we get into this tampering thing, the Knicks is going to have one of the 5 deepest rosters in the league this year.
This year is in 2023. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. It's dandy.
Oh my goodness.
Wishful thinking, but there is a lot of tampering that's going on in sports all around. We got the Miami Dolphins for the NFL. We got the Dallas Mavericks for the NBA. But I think this New York Knicks one is quite interesting, bro, because it's revolving around Jaylen Brunson. And y'all just got him. Like, you just got him, and it's funny because as soon as the trade deadline hit, by nighttime, y'all signed him. So you would think, okay, either you talked about a lot within 24 hours and you convinced him, not even within, like less than 24 hours, and you convinced him, hey, we're the team to go, to be, as opposed to playing behind Luka where you just got to the Western Conference Finals. Maybe you had that discussion. His father had some connections to New York. He has connections to New York. Was there tampering involved, Freddie? Like, were y'all talking to him before the deadline?
All right, so right now we have a battle going on between the players and the owners, right? Mm-hmm. The direction of the league right now, we're heading towards, and I guess we're there already, is that the players are taking control. I know this isn't a popular phrase to use, but the prisoners are overtaking the asylum, right? Yeah, are running the so. They don't want that, obviously, right? This isn't NFL. This is the NBA, where the players who run this league control this league. And we see every year we have players going to different teams. Team USA, if you're playing with all these players, and, we hear about it all the time, these Olympic players playing together and they're recruiting each other there. Boom. We're also in an age where social media is everywhere. Everybody has a podcast. Everybody's interviewing everybody. Everybody's on social media. And people are baiting people into these questions. Hey, what do you think about this player? As an owner, president, coach, whatever, you can't even say, oh, I like this player. I think he's great, which I think is wild to me. And I think some of that is happening, and it's getting a little ridiculous. They're trying to find a way to control that, to stop player movement so often, but you can't do anything about it. With Jaylen Brunson, this was a foregone conclusion. We saw the writing on the wall. They brought his dad in. As soon as they brought Rick Brunson in, he knew what was up, right? You know what was up when he was rolling up. As soon as they got him in there, we were getting Jaylen Brunson. And it makes sense for Jaylen Brunson. Now, you mean to tell me that if my son is in the NBA and I'm in the NBA as well, right? And we're at dinner, we can't talk basketball, right? That's pretty much what happened. It's a father-son relationship. I think it's foolish by the NBA. Now, if you look last year, I think Miami got the tampering with Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, with Chicago, I believe, was one. This year, they had, I believe, the DeJounte Murray with Atlanta. There was another one, a Philly with James Harden, which is ridiculous, mind you. I mean, that whole thing.
I mean, they did acquire James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Daniel House Jr., who again were on the Raptors with Daryl Morey. So it does look a little fishy.
Yeah,
but I get you there. There's a lot of tampering that's going on in the NBA.
I think these players still are gonna.
They're gonna talk. They're gonna. It is a little tough to, I guess.
Yeah.
Think, okay, well, you can be friends or family and not talk about, oh, yeah, well, I want to play this, that, and the third, or come up with strategy. Because, again, like you and I just simply talk hoops, and we can talk about a conversation of, okay, well, maybe this player should go here, maybe this player should go there.
Right.
And, that's just casual conversation. So stuff like that can casually come up. But, I mean, to be fair, though, there are rules in place. So, I mean, let's say, for example, not getting too political, but, like, Trump and Putin, they were friends. So is it fair to say, oh, well, he's friends, like they're friends, like we can trade secrets, it's okay? Like I feel like there are rules in place. No, you shouldn't do this because you got to keep these boundaries, this, that, and the third. I'm not trying to compare like a Putin Trump relationship to a Brunson family relationship, but there are situations where like a father and a son could be equivalent to two friends, like a mentor and mentee are like two friends as well. So I mean, like, I think there should be some type of boundary that you should have in place, because someone could try to make that argument, oh, well, you're kind of spilling secrets. You're kind of, it might be unfair. What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, what I would say to that is this. If you're talking about a free agent, then that's different from a player that's contracted to a team for multiple years. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these players are free agents. A lot of these situations are players that are free agents. I don't feel like tampering should really be a thing in that situation. You should be allowed to talk to whoever you want to talk to.
But when did Jaylen Brunson...
negotiating still has to happen in that office. So regardless of, I mean, we know about LeBron trying to get Kawhi, right? And probably a million other players. LeBron recruits everybody. Talent. Him and Kawhi talked. LeBron thought Kawhi was coming there. And then Kawhi said, oh no, I like what the Clippers offer me. So the player still has to make the decision ultimately. You still got to, these people are out here being courted. I'll give you an example. Let's say we got a bad chick from DC around the way, right? Mm-hmm. And, she's just breaking up with a boyfriend. She's out there. She's pretty much on the market. And I kind of get the head start on it. But, you think about pursuing her as well. You mean to tell me that she's right here in the room with me, I'm not allowed to talk to her even though she's right here? You're going to see her later. You still have the opportunity to pursue her. If you can convince her to, regardless of what she said, we saw DeAndre Jordan do it, right? The Clippers locked DeAndre Jordan in his house till he came back. Yeah. And I think he committed to the Mavericks. And they're like,
Mavs, and they came boom back. So right.
There's times where players commit. Kyrie committed to Boston and then left him to Brooklyn. Like, it happens. You just got to be, I think it comes down to the negotiating. With the Knicks and Brunson, I think that's like not even a thing, man. A lot of these things, man. A lot of these players already have their mindset on where they're going. And that's why I feel like these owners and players are just pushing like more and more like, oh yeah, come here. We know you have interest, just pull up.
I definitely hear that. Going to, I guess, your comparison of like the girl around the way in DC. So that's fair, except for the fact that that's like laws of the street. Like it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you and I said, hey, we like Stacy, I'm gonna see her tonight though, you know what I'm saying? Like let me get first crack at it and then you go and talk to her. I think that's a little bit more fair comparison, because now there's an established like baseline. Okay, you're not supposed to talk to this person until this time. So if we say, hey, we gonna start talking to her on Saturday, I know I'm seeing her Saturday at noon. You seeing her Friday at 7. You can't talk to her. That would be that would be like, all right, like, yeah, you should not be able to. That's more equivalent to me. This is why I'm seeing
that's
like
fair.
Y'all have
and that's fair, and I get that. But even using that analogy, you still have an opportunity to talk to her. So if it was a situation where you had no opportunity to talk to her after I did beforehand, then I'm like, yeah, but the team still had a chance to court him and compel him and convince him to.
But how much time did they have to do that if the trade deadline happened Monday and Monday night he signed? Like that's not much time to court. You got to think. You got to get a flight. You got to get in line.
Yo,
or even you do direct flight, like
gotta be convincing, right? But no, and ultimately, bro. Yeah, ultimately, again, I get it. It's in. Those are the rules in place. Again, I don't think they're the greatest rules because there's no way to prevent tampering. There's going to be teams every year in the NBA, and we're going to talk about football very soon, I assume. But just with the NBA, man, these players are training together. They're around each other, social media, interviews, everything. There's no way to prevent tampering because of just all of the different outlets, all of the different opportunities to talk about someone with a camera in front of you, and even behind closed doors. If my son is playing for a team, hey, look, you need to bring your ass home. Bring your ass in New York. Bring your ass in New York. Okay. If you want to call that tampering, then so be it. But yeah.
I'll give you this, because I do know players, like let's say for example Patrick Baldwin Jr., right? He committed to Duke, and then he saw his father, is now coaching another team. Oh, bet. Let me go over there. Like you do have Nolan Smith, who left Duke's coaching staff to go to Louisville because his father played there. Like he has ties to Louisville. So I do get that. I understand.
Was that why I thought Louisville was out there bringing strippers in?
Listen, that's why Duke had to come in and clean some things up. We gotta save some programs. Like not everyone can be as good as us. We're givers. We're givers. But it is what it is. Now I do want to talk about the next team. We got to stay NBA related only because I know Brunson did come from this squad, right? And it's the Dallas Mavericks. Yep. Now the Mavericks did reach the Western Conference Finals. You've even stated that they overachieved. I agree, right? But they did retool. Like you lose Brunson, you bring in Christian Wood. You still keep Tim Hardaway Jr. You still keep Spencer Dinwiddie. You still have Luka. And Mark Cuban loves to pay money. So I think they are low-key, high-key a contender for this next season. Do I think they're a high-tier one? No. But a low-tier one that could actually still win? Yeah, I do believe so. What's your take on the Dallas Mavericks? What's your expectations for them?
Hey, man, listen here. Wow. You forgot my boy. You forgot two important pieces. Not even just one. JaVale McGee. They got JaVale McGee.
They did.
Going to do some amazing things for him because Dwight Powell you have no use for Dwight Powell on the court, right?
That's tough. That's very tough. I like Powell.
Bro, you can't average 2 points and 2 rebounds.
Bro, he's out of position. He's playing the 5 and he's a 4. He's a 4. I gotta.
Bro. Come on, Draymond plays the 5. Come on, man.
Nah, that's different. That's different. That's different. That's different.
And earned himself a big contract because of Dwight Powell. But my bad, bro. You got the rookie. What is it? Jaylen Hardy or Jaden Hardy?
Jaden Hardy. I like Jaden Hardy as well.
You lose your boy Brunson, right?
Well, your boy. See how quickly they switch up on him? They get to one little tampering situation, and it just
Listen, you get Jaden Hardy, he can flat out score. I think when they drafted Josh Green, that's what they were expecting. Mm-hmm. Hardy is going to be that. You watched in the summer league?
I did, and I even said that I think Tim Hardaway might be out the dough. Just to be honest with you. Well, here's why I say that. Let Jaden Hardy develop fast enough. He's gonna repeat. He's gonna replicate what Tim Hardaway does.
I'm gonna tell you why not.
You gotta get Tim Hardaway's contract off the books.
Listen, no, I'm gonna tell you why. Because Tim Hardaway is a specialist who actually is improving on the defensive end, and he's improving just playing off the ball in general. When he played for my Knicks, he was a very inefficient player. He had no defense. He didn't know how to move without the ball. He looks like a true NBA player with the Mavericks. I don't know who to give credit to for that. Maybe Silas, who was there working with him, Steven Silas. But with Jaden Hardy, I think they're going to look to keep him coming off the bench to be that guy for now. You lose Brunson, who was a bit coming off the bench a lot, and what he can do, create for that second lineup. And play with the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to do that, and I think they're going to allow him time to learn and grow. Pardon me if my light is cut off on me. I'm going to allow him time to grow. And with that, you have Spencer Dinwiddie, who may come off the bench as well. You have, I think, Maxi Kleber, who's going to come off the bench. I think you're going to have David Bertans, who's going to come off the bench. You can bring Dwight Powell off the bench now.
I was about to say, actually, I might start Bertans and bring Powell off the bench.
Well, here you go. So think about this. Luka, Tim Hardaway, what's my guy's name? Dorian Finney-Smith, Christian Wood, and big guy.
JaVale McGee?
No, JaVale McGee can't even start because you got Reggie Bullock. So I think Christian Wood in today's NBA may start as the 5, Dorian Finney as the 4. You have Bullock as the 3, Timmy as the 2, and Luka as the 1. And you have that shooting. You can switch a lot because everybody's 6'7" and above. You can run the floor. They were the slowest paced team in the NBA last year. The slowest pace last year. Literally, the slowest pace in the NBA. So you pick your pace up. They were also one of the worst rebounding teams. So you also get some high across the board. So now, mind you, they were also one of the better defensive teams. You bring in Christian Wood, who can stretch the floor, run the court. McGee I think he had more blocks than everybody on Dallas's team last year. He barely started half the game. Run the court, block shots. Now Luka has some great screen and roll options. You have 2 guys who can get you 10 boards as well. Now Luka doesn't have to go and grab you 10 boards. And that's important stuff. Now he's able to reserve some of his energy. And Luka is becoming more of an efficient player. Again, you have rim protection. You have Dwight Powell cannot stay on the court as a starter because he could not shoot. He couldn't rebound. He just was very ineffective.
A lot of gaps. They feel
so I think them getting Christian Wood and JaVale is going to really, really just bolster up that lineup, man. And they got a deep team, man. Like I said, you got Maxi Kleber who may come off the bench, David Bertans.
So are they contenders? Are they contenders?
So I think, bro, they won 50 games last year for the first time in I think a decade, bro. And I think they're contenders, bro. You have one of the top 5 players in the league. Then you have that defensive core. You have that
top 5. Luka's top 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, you know me. I'm a guy. Whoever can do more with less is a top 5 guy to me. If I'm starting a team,
I think we're not giving Brunson enough credit.
No, Brunson was amazing. Even when Luka was out, Brunson was amazing. But what Luka did from the first series, even the years before, I told you he still got to win a series, but Luka's averaging 30 a game in the playoffs, killing Kawhi and Paul George. Impact that. Like, Luka is always, he hasn't shrank in any moment, but Jalen Brunson was a bad boy, for sure. But when you bring in Christian Wood, JaVale McGee, and Jaden Ivey, I mean, not Jaden Ivey, excuse me, but Hardy, Jaden Hardy, you lose Brunson. It's like, I'll do that any day. So you add in that, and you add Timmy Hardaway Jr. back there. And now you have Luka, who's in shape, look like he built like me right now. He ain't as sexy as me, but he built.
You better hope he's in shape. Y'all better, Mavericks fans better hope he's in shape, bro.
No, he is, bro. He's been playing professionally.
That's cool. But I mean, there's still a lot more time to like the season starts. I mean,
skinny Luka is here right now, bro, and skinny Joker. They're both like. So I'm not the biggest Joker fan, but gotta give him respect.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Now,
so, I think they'll be contenders, bro.
Now, okay, all right. Well, you call him top 5. That's questionable. I say top 10, but he's up there
Luka?
for certain. Yeah, he's up there for certain.
And I don't want to get
I haven't done an official one. I haven't done an official. But like right now, I would confidently say top 10. Top 5. I gotta think about it because you got you got Giannis, you got Embiid, you got KD, you still got Bron, you got Steph, and then Kawhi's coming back. Although Kawhi had that injury, it's like he's still Kawhi.
Kawhi, we don't know what Kawhi. I gotta be fair, right?
You said what?
We don't know what Kawhi is. We gotta be fair.
I said that's tough. You know what I'm saying? I hear you on that part.
And KD just got swept in the first round. I can't put him past. And Luka just got to the Western Conference Final with a worse lineup.
I gotta, just because one, I've seen before KD's injury this same season, they were the number 1 team in the NBA. Like everything was churning. Like no, record-wise, yes, they were. Like number 1, number 1, worst case, number 3. They were the top seed in the East. Oh no, they were the top seed in the East. They were higher than so many squads. And then KD goes down this same season and comes back in the playoffs. Like a healthy KD to me is better right now than a healthy Luka.
Well, we could put a bookmark in that, right?
I was like, that's all. But again, though, you have that. Did I say Jokic already? Like, there's so many players in.
Again, Joker hasn't proven more than Luka yet. Joker hasn't proven more than Luka, bro. That's
tough because I mean, what has Luka done? Made it to the Western Conference Finals. That's nice, but so did Luka.
Dominated in the playoffs.
But Jokic didn't dominate also?
Not all the time. Joker struggled this year. Look at them versus Golden State. And then look at Luka versus Golden State.
They both got swept.
No, Luka got a game off of him. His teammates just couldn't hit open threes. Luka averaged 33, 10-9 versus Golden State. And I'm probably off, by some numbers, but rebound and assist numbers, but he has crazy numbers versus. He was killing Golden State, but nobody could hit open three. Him and then Brunson averaged 18. But I mean, Dorian Finney couldn't do anything, and of course the other guys. But yeah, but that's what Golden State does as well. That's a veteran team. We see what they did to Tatum.
But yeah, like I said, there's so many people out there. I can't confidently say top 5, top 10.
Okay.
I'll give you top 5. I'd have to think about it. Like I said, I don't have an official 2023 listing yet. So that's why I say I'm just wanting to be confident about my statement. But a team that I do think we both might be pretty high on, and I think a lot of people could be sleeping on. But I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I want to get your opinion on them. The Toronto Raptors. I like them a lot. You got Pascal Siakam, you got Fred VanVleet, you got OG Anunoby, you got the Rookie of the Year in Scottie Barnes, you got Chris Boucher. You have so many players out there on this squad, and they're deep. Like, they're lanky, they're athletic, they can shoot the ball, they hustle. And I mean, if you're not vaccinated, hey, you can't play on their gym. So I mean, what's your expectations for the Toronto Raptors? Like, can they win a chip? Like, is this the 2019 season again? Like, are they going to surprise some people, or like, are they just going to be a tough out in the first or second round?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. Scottie Barnes will be their superstar 2 to 3 years from now. This guy, as a rookie, came in, and that's why Brooklyn was trying to get Scottie Barnes in the trade package for KD. That wasn't,
I'm not taking Pascal Siakam as the core for my trade. I'm sorry.
If I'm Toronto, I'm not giving Scottie Barnes up for KD. I don't care. As fun as it would be to see KD with that Toronto core, I'm thinking about this. Fred VanVleet is about, 28 years old maybe? Pascal's in his late 20s. OG Anunoby's only like 24. Scottie Barnes is maybe 20. You got Gary Trent, who's mid-20s. All those tall, lanky guys are in their early to mid-20s. I'm not wrecking that. What that team is built and made of right now, especially with that coach, bro, is lanky, athletic guys that can switch everything, that can run the court like gazelles. All of them can shoot. All of them have very good IQ. They all move the ball. They all move without the ball. A lot of them can get their own bucket. OG is a freaking going to be all defensive player, a very good two-way player. If he stayed healthy, I think he played 40 games this year. If he stayed healthy all season, they probably would have been a top 3 seed in the East. People forget last year they were, they had a down year. And that was, what it was, because you talk about COVID ridden and stuff like that. That was what it was. They were playing Tampa or something.
3 seed, that's tough.
No, because the year after Kawhi left, guess what they were? They were better than the year Kawhi was there. No, they were. The numbers defensively, just pace, win percentage. They went from a 71% team to a 73% team. The numbers were there. They just did not have playoff time. You need that guy, right? We're in the era.
But that means that you're not better, because I mean you can play extremely well, but I mean if you can't get over the hump the way they did, I can't say you're better. I hear you on like the numbers and stuff like that say that they were better. I get that, but like you say, hey, numbers lie. Like they don't always tell the whole story. So I get what you're saying.
Lie,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean though.
Yeah,
but yeah.
The numbers don't lie from that standpoint. Yeah.
So let me ask, because I did say first or second round. Is there any chance that they could sneak to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Eastern Conference Finals? No.
No chance?
No, I'll say this because Scottie Barnes is right now still too young. That will be the guy they need. We already know Pascal Siakam can't be that number one guy, right? We watched them when they won a championship, and Pascal was a dog as the number two guy versus Golden State. But after that, he could not be that guy. And we were all let down. We thought he was going to take off the following year, and he didn't. Although they still played good, what we saw was Fred VanVleet get better, and OG Anunoby look better, and players around him look better. And Pascal kind of he said, okay, I don't want to be that number one guy. So that's why I said 2 or 3 years from now, they will be, because Scottie Barnes will take over as the for sure number one. And now you have VanVleet as the number 3, and Pascal as the number 2, and OG as the number 4. That's dangerous. But right now, no.
Well, I mean, you got Pascal throwing up 23, 7, and I'm sorry, oh my goodness, 8.5, and then 5 assists, right? And then you got Fred VanVleet giving you 20 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. Like, I don't know. I feel like with that, and then even Gary Trent giving you 18, like this caliber team could sneak away and beat the 76ers. They could beat the Miami Heat. They could beat the Boston Celtics, surprisingly, just because I've seen Scottie Barnes actually go and do work against Jason Tatum. Like, that was a fair comparison. I think JT can still win that matchup, but it's a nice matchup to see and look forward to for the future. So I mean, I granted I would put my money on the Celtics though in that series, of course, but I don't know. Like would I put money that they would make it? No, I wouldn't. I'm gonna be honest. But like, could they though? Like there's a shot. Like the right situation, the right teams, they might sneak in there and surprise some people like that. Yeah. I wouldn't. Would you be surprised? I guess.
No. So if they did it, I wouldn't be surprised because they still have some of those players from that championship team there. Okay, that's one. Two, they have a coach who's a top 5 coach in NBA. Whether if we want to acknowledge it or not, Nick Nurse is one of the best out of situational coaches.
I'll give him respect.
Yeah, one of the best defensive coaches, one of the best situational coaches. Like, he is great with getting the most out of his players. So I can see them getting there based off, because again, they have the thing like Detroit in 2004, right? Mm-hmm. They had no single player that was better than Kobe, no single player that was better than Shaq. Gary Payton in his later years was still a threat. Karl Malone got hurt, which is ultimately the biggest reason why all that kind of changed, even though Rasheed was out to kill him. But that's more so what Toronto now would be, right? You have 2 all-star players, right? You have a young budding star, which essentially Detroit didn't have, but you still have a young.
Should have been Melo.
That's another story.
It is.
Listen, that would have been a gift to basketball, but we're gonna leave that alone. So Toronto I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't expect Scottie Barnes to take that leap that early. They have a roster that's built for today's game of basketball. Again, you have Kim Birch and I don't know if Chris Boucher is still there or not, but Chris Boucher, Precious Chua, all these guys, 6'10", athletic, can switch, can shoot, can block shots, everything, run the floor like gazelles. The only small person on their team is freaking Fred VanVleet. And Malachi Flynn is freaking killing people right now in pro M games. So he's getting better. I love him since they drafted him. He's finally starting to show what he truly can be. So
I hope he pans out because he's been there for a little second. Matter of fact, I wanted to ask you this too. Christian Koloko, they just drafted him. The boy's kind of tall, like 7 foot, 7'2", something like that. How do you feel about him? He was solid in college, but then like sometimes in the summer league, he was amp. Do you think he'll help out? Do you think the Raptors will develop him properly, or do you think that's just a body that they ended up saying, "Hey, we're gonna"?
I don't have much film on him, right? I haven't seen much footage of him. I'll be honest, but just by how you explain him, he sounds like the typical Toronto Raptors player under Masai Ujiri, and Nick Nurse. That's what they love to draft. That's what they love to bring in there. So I think they can bring him along. I don't know this guy's game, I'll be honest. So it will be interesting to see that. But if he's a young gazelle, they have one of the better development staffs in the league. So I can see them bringing him along. And they got time too because they have so much youth there and skill. So
okay. Yeah. I don't know about how much time. I mean, Chris Boucher, he's 29. Siakam and Van Vliet, they 27. I'm just saying, once you leave out of that prime, it get a little tricky. And Siakam already had an.
What about Kim Birch? Kim Birch is still early 20s, mid 20s, maybe. Precious Achiuwa is 20.
Kim Birch is 29.
Yeah. And you got an OG
22. Like they got some young pieces, and they can rotate them as you get older. But
right. So I mean, the 27 is not old though, bro. I mean, I get what you're saying.
I'm saying in a couple of seasons, like 27 to 30, like bro, I'm 30 now. I promise you, 27, like before the pandemic. What? Yeah. Oh my God, that was like 2 days ago. Like
trust me,
didn't go by quick.
Bro, trust me. Listen, I got a video. I got to send it to you of me crossing somebody over, in my men's league, and bro, I'm like, yo, I crossed the mess out of this dude, but old and stiff. I'm 30 as well, bro. I look old and stiff. So there's some truth to what you're saying for sure.
Exactly.
2 years development, and I mean, but yeah. So, but now here's the thing. Here's why I don't think they can get there. If they get there, will I be surprised? No, because of what they have. But I don't think they can get there. Hopefully that makes sense. You got Giannis in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
You have freaking Miami is still a threat, but you have Philly, who is going to take a huge step next year. Harden is going to be a year removed from his hamstring. People forget he had a hamstring injury that he had in the playoffs, where he was their best player on a lot of nights in the playoffs, and was the reason why the next season turned around when he got there. People don't remember that. He was an MVP candidate. Like Kyrie and KD were killing, but they were winning every other game. When Harden came and ramped, that's when they literally took off. As amazing as KD is and was, like, Harden was literally the guy that was the engine until his hamstring. No, he was. Even when they in the first round, Harden was.
That's tough.
No.
I get it. I get it. I just it's tough.
It's facts by facts. Yeah. I didn't say he was better than KD.
No. But he was definitely the playmaker. He was putting everything in place. Like he was the one facilitating everything. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but so, and I'm saying all that to say, even if you don't agree with me though, like I'm just saying all that to say, he got injured in that series, and then he came back next year, not even really playing, and then started playing, and he just never quite. So I think he's still just laboring from that. This year, I think he's going to be old Harden again, not averaging 35 because they don't need that from him. You got Tobias, Reese Maxey, you got all these pieces, but I think he'll be a dominant 1-2 punch with Joel Embiid, and I think that team's going to be scary. I think the Knicks are going to be surprising. I think the Hawks are going to be amazing. So I mean, there's a lot of teams out there. I just don't think Toronto's going to be able to. The East is tough, bro. The East is tough.
It is.
The East is tough, man.
It's extremely tough. It's extremely tough. like when I'm thinking about the East, and I'm thinking, like typically when stars leave, right, or like want to leave, they're going to like the other conference. But you got people thinking about trading like within the old division, like it's wild. You have Jaylen Brown and Kevin Durant possibly getting traded, like. That's kind of absurd because, again, you stated, like, hey, KD got swept. Like, we all saw it. And it was by the hands of Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and the Celtics. Is it disrespectful for the Celtics to try to bring in Kevin Durant for Jaylen Brown? Like, is that disrespectful? Because you just went to the finals and battled against the Warriors. Like, and you might have been the better team, just not like the more disciplined team. So
it's very smart for Brooklyn to attempt this trade.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give Brad Stevens credit for bringing in Malcolm Brogdon and Danilo Gallinari.
Yeah.
Amazing. But if he trades Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Robert Williams for KD, that's going to define his tenure as a front office guy. And it's going to show the importance of Danny Ainge. This is why I say that. Like you said, you just explained a lot of it, actually. They just made it to the finals. They just swept Kevin Durant and made Kevin Durant look pedestrian, right? In the first round. A team that people said last year could have beaten freaking Milwaukee if Kyrie stayed healthy. People thought Kyrie and KD would have beat Milwaukee if Kyrie stayed healthy. I think this team they had this year is better, just based on their roster, is better than the previous year. Now, they lost some coaching staff pieces, which people don't talk about. I think that actually had a lot to do with it. Goran Dragic should have been playing more in that first round. I had no idea why they didn't. Whatever. But they beat KD, and this is one of the only, maybe two or three series, Memphis, Dallas. Okay, so one of the few series where KD looked somewhat pedestrian. And I think this is his worst series ever, right? Now, he kicked it up, he ramped it up later, but by then it's too late. You're not coming back from 3-0. Marcus Smart, all defensive player this year, defensive player of the year player this year. Numbers are more efficient than they've been in recent years for him. Playoffs, always plays better in the playoffs. His numbers always go up in the playoffs. He's only 28 years old, right?
Like he was hitting everything, bro. Like
yes. He lost me some money on numbers. Freaking Robert Williams, 24. So you got two all defensive players this year that they're trying to get from you. Don't do it, right? Robert Williams had a career year this year. He's only 24. Jaylen Brown is, over the past year, has increased as an all-around player. He's increased his effectiveness on the court, right? He's a leader. He played good. And for what it was worth, he was part of that team that what the Clemson hated. Why would you do it? You have no reason to do it. Now, if you want to say, okay, if Milwaukee was healthy, we had no chance of beating them, fine. But you also didn't have Nikola Gallinari and Malcolm Brogdon. So you just stack your roster to fix possible issues from last year. Why would you trade that away? KD's 34. KD's a monster, bro.
KD's also a top 5 talent in the NBA, Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You wouldn't just be trading away Jaylen Brown, 1. 2, KD is not guaranteed he's not the most durable person. We got to keep that in. And 3, Jaylen Brown is still improving. Jaylen Brown's offensive game this year was very impressive, bro. Very.
You say his offensive game?
Yeah, him shooting off the dribble this year.
It was him dribbling that was the issue. Like I just want to say, like, I'm asking questions, not trying to make it seem like I disagree with you. Part of me does say, yeah, you make that trade for KD, I like Jaylen Brown enough where I think the future of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum is brighter than the 4, maybe 5 years you're gonna squeeze out of KD. Now you very well could win a title with Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum. I don't think, and I got to double check on this, but I don't remember if Jaylen if Rob Williams was part of that trade package. I felt like they were trying to keep Rob in the trade package because that makes it a little bit more, a lot more.
Yeah, there were a few different options. I saw there were a few different packages. One had Derek White, one had Williams, Brown, and Marcus Smart with a couple of draft picks. Yeah, there were a few different ones for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, it depends on what you're giving up. Like, if I'm keeping Rob, I might make that move. If I got to give up Rob, I might rethink some things. Because Rob was very effective for the Celtics. But, like...
Yeah, here's the thing, because I don't completely disagree with that. If you're talking Marcus Smart and... Because you got Derek White as a backup still. Peyton Pritchard showed a lot of promise.
And you got Brogdon there still for the replacement of Marcus Smart.
Well, right, as a starter. So I'm just talking about just the backups even. Yeah, but yeah, absolutely. Naismith may take another step this year. We'll see. But, I mean, got Gallinari as well to play that
helps out so much.
Yeah, now here's the thing. I think that with KD, they are a favorite, right? I think. If you give up Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown. But what you're risking is youth, durability, and potential. These guys, Jaylen Brown's still getting better. Again, I was amazed. I loved watching his game until they played Golden State, who had a game plan for their ass, right? With KD is amazing, bro. You know how I just have not seen him. Golden State to me was an obvious, right? Brooklyn, if Harden stay healthy, I don't know what would have happened, right?
I think if that happens or the mandate don't happen, we have a much different discussion. But we got to talk about what actually happened.
Right, absolutely. You give them 3 years, I think they'll be able to at least get to the finals with KD, right? Mm-hmm. But then after that 3 years, what are you looking at, right? Is he going to be healthier? He's always going to be able to shoot that pill. I know that, but is he going to be able to offensively dominate a game like that? Like, I just look at
does he have to? Like, can we think about Kevin Durant for a second as a second banana, which people also want to put him as because you go to the Warriors, you're on Steph's team. Like, you're not viewed as the one driving the bus. You're not the bus driver. You just sit in front seat, shotgun. Right. So, I mean, if you put him on that team with Ime Udoka, with coaching, with all these young guns out here, still young, like we talked about. You still got an Al Horford out here producing, solid veteran. You got a JT as a number one option, knowing Kevin Durant is his second option. Like, he's not going to turn the ball over the way Jaylen Brown did. He's going to be shooting like...
If you lose Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown, who are your leaders? I get the Al Horford thing, but is Al Horford going to be Haslam next year, or is he going to be Al Horford who's on the playoffs?
I think he's going to be Al Horford.
Over 82 games.
I think he's going to be Al Horford.
Or is he going to be Millsap from this year? You know,
I don't think you get the same Al Horford from this past season. I think, like, you know how when it's like, never mind, I'm not gonna go that route. I was gonna get a little morbid. Like, I think it was like a bright moment before the dimming commences. So I think we saw the best out of Al, and after, like, from now it's just gonna go downhill for me. But I mean, it's a gamble either way. Because, like, what happens too if Jaylen Brown sits up there and gets injured? Damn, you almost had KD. Like that. You never know. It's always a risk. But I think we both are kind of in agreement. It depends on what you got to give up. I think you give up Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown. Might be a little more willing.
Just like, I'll be like, no, I'm keeping Boston because I want more players. I want more depth in the Eastern Conference. You never know who's going to get hurt. But also, you want to make sure you have that second. A lot of teams, the league is getting so talented to where it used to be, okay, we're in the draft getting guys who are specialists, right? Now, you're not just getting the Kyle Korver, right? You're not just, even a Trey Murphy has some wiggle to his game. Zaire Williams, is that young kid from Grizzly?
Yeah.
Three-ball, he has the wiggle to his game. Like, so you're not just getting just straight down Bruce Bowen lockdown game 3. You're not getting Kyle. You're getting, if he can hit a 3, he can Boogie and you can probably take off on you, probably rock you up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm gonna say you coming in a little low. You coming in a little low.
1 second. Yep, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you good now. You good now.
Yeah, so these players just come in with more of a bag. So teams have deeper rosters now. You know, and so I just think that depth is everything, as well as of course having that star player. So, but yeah, no, depth is. So I would, if I'm Boston, I would stand pat. I would stay still, because if they did not get Gallinari and Brogdon, I would say get Katie. But you got those two. You made great trends. Deal with that, and you know, keep your youth and health.
Okay, that's fair. I can respect that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's almost like the Nets and the Celtics, more so the Celtics. I guess it would be the Celtics, because KD already made the trade request. They had their kind of on Would You Rather. So, you know, I feel like that was a perfect segue. Now, you and I did have a nice little discussion earlier, so I feel like we should lead with this one, because it'll probably take up the most time. So after this one, you know, we can decide whether or not to end the show. But we got here people. Who is the scarier duo? And remember, when I say this,
oh boy,
think of when these duos played, right? AD and Bron or AD and Boogie. Now these are two good teams, like two good duos. I think you and I would love to have both either way. Don't matter really. Like they two nice players to have on the squad, especially if we can remove such trivial things like injuries. Like you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Cool. Maybe a couple of technicals and behavioral things from Boogie, but you know that I'm more so to help for him, more so to help. Who you going with? Just to go ahead and say.
So we had this. We talked about this a bit earlier. And my immediate response was like, "Are you crazy?" Mm-hmm. But I did time pass and it resonated a bit. And I would give you this: AD and Boogie together in New Orleans, that was scary. Very scary, because you have two guys, big guys, who can do a whole lot of things, right? It's no team has two big guys that can. I mean, you talk about Rudy Gobert and Cat now, like Tim Duncan and
this man said Rudy Gobert and Cat.
Ralph Sampson and Hakeem.
Don't you dare bring them boys up when you did you say Dave? Please don't tell me you said Tim Duncan and David Robinson, and then after that, don't do that.
Why not?
We cannot bring up Cat and Rudy. I'm sorry, let me not.
No, come on, man. We gotta give Rudy more respect.
Rudy.
We have to give Rudy more respect. People don't like Rudy because
respect for the Rudy.
No. Rudy, people don't give Rudy respect because he can't shoot. That's the problem with the world now, and that's why there's so many empty calorie players in the NBA. I don't want to go there, but Rudy Gobert is a very valuable piece.
Cool. But go ahead though. I ain't mean to mess up your flow.
Yeah, bro. But people disrespect Rudy so much, mainly Shaq. And I mean Shaq has the right to, because come on. But Rudy is valuable, bro. Very.
Bron and AD versus Boogie and AD. We're not gonna go down that rabbit hole. That's gonna be hard.
I'm gonna start it with this, and then I can go further with some more explanation. So Bron and AD has a championship. I don't care about it was bubble. There were still playoff teams there that had to compete, that wanted to compete. And if you go and ask any of them, whether they say they wanted to be there or not, I guarantee you can ask any of them if they want a championship ring. And I guarantee you 90% of them will say, yeah, I want a championship ring. Teams were trying to win. Clippers were up 3-1 on Denver, and they blew it. They choked. Denver was down 1-3. And they came back because they wanted to win. They wouldn't have tried to come back. They would have packed it in early and went home. Giannis went home early because Jimmy Butler was a whole gangster and a wild boy and about that life. Jimmy got his team to the finals.
So it's because they got
Warren was playing like his life was
because they won the championship. It's because they won. We know what happened. We saw. It's because they won the championship. That's why you giving them the nod. That's
that's one reason. Because you're saying who's more scared. This team won a championship. They got to be the team that won a championship. Listen, I don't care if you got two players in the team that average 35 per game. If they're not beating us, then I don't care. They can average their 35. That's my look on it. But So secondly, you're talking about a point forward and a power forward who can play the 5 as well, and can do all things. That's going to be an action. You're going to run so many actions with those two players involved. With your two bigs, there's a lot of times you're not going to have that action with those two guys involved. And then here's the other part about it. LeBron and AD can switch pretty much 1 through 5. Boogie and AD can't switch 1 through 5. So I'm talking on defensive end as well. Boogie is not as efficient and it's not as great as a playmaker as LeBron. So that matters as well. So I definitely respect just you having to worry about Twin Towers. But if I'm like trying to figure out a game plan, I think I can game plan easier for two bigs than I can for a perimeter player and a big, because there's going to be so many actions involved in those two. And then again, you're talking about the best player in the world, arguably the GOAT, AD, versus a big guy who's a top big guy of his era.
But see, I think one thing you're not taking into consideration is, like, I would hear you if Boogie couldn't shoot the ball. Boogie's a 5, right? At the beginning of the career, you're not taking threes because back then I ain't put in context. That's not the center's role, right? Like, but he's kind of the anomaly. Like, he's one of those anomalies. He's starting to make these things. Okay, like he's an actual skilled player. It's not like both AD and Boogie are going to be on the block. Like, Boogie has hit some threes. So to me, I don't definitively have Bron as when I think perimeter play, when I'm talking perimeter play, I'm talking about like as a shooter. Like, I don't have Bron definitively better than Boogie on the perimeter. Like, I hear you. Like I hear you. I personally don't. If you look at the stats, like from a 3-point percentage, it ain't that far off. And then from a free throw percentage, Boogie actually shoots better. So I'm just I'm just saying. And then when you want to look at when Boogie played with AD, you talk about playmaking. All right, like I understand Bron's the better playmaker. Boogie gave me 5 assists, 25 points
with
12 rebounds.
Like 3 to 4 turnovers though.
You said what?
With 3 to 4 turnovers though.
I mean, how many turnovers does Bron give you?
But he gives you 7 to 10 assists.
And he gives you 7 assists with 4 turnovers. Assists. That's okay. And we're talking about this with not a real point guard. You got a combo guard.
Cool.
No, I'm sorry.
No. They had Rondo. They had Rondo and
I'm sorry. They had Rondo.
Yeah, Rondo and Rondo.
But I can work. I can work with that. My man is still playmaking, and I have 2 big guys who, okay, yeah, they might not be able to play alongside the. No. Anthony Davis can actually guard the perimeter players. And you tell me I gotta force somebody to the paint. I mean, Boogie blocking shots. AD's blocking shots.
He's not Joel Embiid though. He'll block some shots because he's 6'10", 6'11", takes up space, but he's not an all defensive player.
But you have Boogie, and then you have Anthony Davis playing help side. Like Boogie can guard the 5. Anthony Davis now doesn't have to be down on the block. It's quite helpful. Like and Anthony Davis is extremely versatile, like you pointed out. So I do think you can find like another wing player to throw at a LeBron. You're not going to stop a LeBron, but if you can guide him into the paint, is he going to attack DeMarcus Cousins? Is he going to attack Anthony Davis all the time? No. There was a video where Gilbert Arenas was talking about how they made it so that they had to bring out Brandon Hayward because he's taller than LeBron James. He's 6'11", 7 foot, and can meet him at the rim. All right, cool. Let's take him out the game so that way Bron can be the tallest player. Well, you can't easily do that with Bron. Like you're going to have a harder time scoring as LeBron James. You're going to get your numbers, but it's going to be a harder time scoring with that. So I think if we're talking about that for Bron, we have to be talking about that same thing for everybody else in the league too. So like, I definitely understand that, like, Bron and AD is a solid duo. I'll even give you the chip. You know how I feel about the chip. We're not going to get into that discussion, but I'll even give that to you. I just remember these boys, and I'm thinking like against that Warrior squad, even with KD, they're gonna cause them some problems. If you give Bron and AD against that Warrior squad with KD. It's a solid battle. I would lean more again against that
LeBron, Kyrie,
Boogie
and
and AD
AD.
squad. But again, I'm picking comparable players that
Yeah,
would
you
like
said
make it more
LeBron,
fair.
KD,
So,
and AD. You're saying, or just
You said
LeBron
what?
and AD?
You said what?
You said LeBron, KD, and Kyrie. Excuse me, LeBron, AD, and Kyrie, or just LeBron and AD against those Warriors?
Just LeBron and AD. LeBron and AD.
Well, yeah. I mean, but nobody's beating that Warriors team with KD on it. But I mean, it's tough.
I do believe, and again, maybe
I do want to rebuttal what you said about the Boogie thing in a second, but
I was saying I do believe that Pelicans would have gave him a solid run. Like you could push but you gotta. I didn't like the coaching at that time too. Management. If you give them a different management, it's a whole different situation.
Well,
but like, long story short, I like that dude.
There we go. So speaking of that year when they made the playoffs and Boogie got hurt before, of course, I think it was the end of the Rockets game. They swept without Boogie. They swept Portland Trailblazers, right? With Rondo, Drew Holiday, Nikola Mirotic, AD, Etwan Moore.
They played real well.
They swept Portland and got a game off of KD Golden State without Boogie. Mm-hmm. So that lets you know that even though they were, now you had a Boogie and now it's a whole nother game. So I think they would have given Golden State trouble because that's size and, shooting and, playmaking from that. Like that, you just don't have an answer for. I honestly think that's the way to beat Golden State. Honestly, I've always felt that way. I never felt it was smart to try to play Golden State style of play. So I don't disagree with you. I think they would have given Golden State power. But I'll also say this: when you try to compare Boogie's efficiency to Bron's, that's not. Boogie's a center who shoots 46% from the field for his career, right? LeBron,
he's not just on the block though. Bron's doing more dunks and stuff.
Listen, there you go. LeBron shoots 50% from the field for his career while shooting 19 shots a game for us. He's shooting more shots per game than Boogie and still shooting a higher percentage while taking more perimeter shots probably than Boogie, I would assume. Because he takes more threes than Boogie and he makes a higher percentage of threes than Boogie. Boogie usually only takes about 2 or 3 threes per game. LeBron is now up to 8.
Boogie for like the first 5 years. Boogie wasn't taking threes because again, that's how. But then after that, you go 3, 5, 6, and 3, and that's right. You go what? Bron
he's shooting. I think he shot like 8 a game this past year, but he's still.
Past year,
he's still. All right, I'll let you.
Yeah, I thought.
I say, well, why you look? He still shot. He averaged 34, 35% for his career. Boogie 33%. Like LeBron's just the better 3-point shooter. However you want to chop it up, LeBron has had better 3-point shooting seasons, and he's just the better 3-point shooter. I don't think nobody would argue that. But if you're a center and you got a guy that's taking more perimeter shots and still taking a higher volume shots, and he's shooting 50% from the field, and you're shooting 40%, 46% as the center, then that should tell you right there who's the better shooter. More importantly, from 2-point range, bro, LeBron shoots 55% for his career, and Boogie shoots sub 50% for his career. That's alarming to me. I think they're the same at free throw percentage. Boogie averaged the same amount of turnovers per game, but Bron averaged way higher assist total. Bron's the better defender. Boogie's never made all defensive team. Bron has made 6. Like, Bron has dominated games defensively, has key defensive moments. Like, I just think.
So you lose me on the defensive part because I know you love stats and stuff.
Yeah.
And when I say that,
yep.
You know what, Boogie has a 1.3 blocks for the career. I'm sorry, 1.3 steals and 1 block. Like Bron has 1.6 steals and 0.8 blocks. Their defense is not as far off as you try to make it.
You ready
seem,
for my
like that? Like that disparity is actually like smaller than people try to give credit. Like I'm not trying to say, oh, Demarcus Cousins should be top 10 or he should be in the GOAT discussion. No, I'm saying as a talent.
You ready?
That's what I'm going for. And then I kind of want to ask you this too.
Okay.
Do you view Anthony Davis better now or on the Pelicans?
Well,
Because durability.
Yeah, it's tough because he just came off his worst year in forever. He wasn't healthy. And in hindsight, I think I know why he played so bad this year. And I blame it on him adding on a lot of muscle mass. And I think naturally, and I'm just speaking from I put on post-COVID, I put on like 20 pounds, and my body was heavy. I couldn't move as sharp as I wanted to. I was getting nagging injuries because I wasn't used to moving with that type of weight. I couldn't get lift on my shots. My free throw percentage, 3-point, everything went down, right? I was late on rotations defensively. I couldn't jump the lane.
Yeah, it changes. You change.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to give him that benefit of the doubt. But still, it was a poor season.
How about 2020 then? I take 2020 in consideration.
I say
to be fair, that's when you.
Yeah, I say 2020 AD was better than previous AD. The same way that, you got players who learn how to play winning basketball after they play with a winner, right? LeBron went to Miami and he learned how to win from Wade. You had other players in history that learned how to win from other players. So even though, he's putting up the gaudy 27, 12, and 4, 2 blocks and a steal and all that good stuff, they weren't winning much, right? But in the Lakers system, I feel like even when Bron was off the court, he just played a better brand of basketball, right? A better, it just looked like he understood, okay, this is what I need to do to win. So I would say LA AD because of that.
Because he knows how
I
to
would
win
take
more.
LA, because of his maturity in his game now. He was always talented and scary, very scary.
I'm actually a little surprised you say that, right? And I mind you, I understand the answer completely. So I get it because it's more of a mindset thing. It's kind of like, oh, okay, well, do you appreciate Kevin Garnett on the Wolves or Kevin Garnett on the Celtics? Well, if you really appreciate his journey,
well, that's different. That would be
like, no. I'm
yeah.
trying to give it an example. Like, you might appreciate the Celtics because, okay, you got to see Kevin Garnett take a step back and kind of just do what he can be great at. He doesn't have to do everything. So, like, you can appreciate stuff like that.
I think KG on Minnesota was a winner, but literally didn't happen that.
I mean, but he didn't win, though. He didn't win. Like, I can say, Anthony Davis was a winner, too.
KG made the playoffs.
I get you. He made the playoffs. Stuff.
He couldn't have had a chance to beat the Lakers until Samson Cassell got hurt. So there were some things that happened while he was there. With AD, he just flat out couldn't win. Might as well call him Kevin Love.
But Boogie got injured too. Like, this team is better than Kevin Garnett's team, and I'm not trying to make it an apples to apples comparison. I'm just saying you can look at the Celtics team and appreciate that Kevin Garnett more so than the Wolves one, because again, you realize he didn't have to do as much. I kind of see it like that, except I'm appreciating the old school AD a little bit more. And here's why I say this. People complain about Anthony Davis not being aggressive. Like, oh, he's not dominant. Well, hold on. Time out. This man just put up 23, 9, 3 assists, 1.6 blocks, and 2 steals. 2 blocks and like 1.5 steals. He's not dominant? Like, no. He can be more dominant, but how many people out there throwing up them stats? Then when we get on the Pelicans, we don't have as many injury history. Like up until, like, if you look at his whole career, he's played, and excluding this guy, I didn't do the math for this year, but he's played 75% of his career. So out of the entire games he could play, he's played 75. The only thing that's messed him up is the last couple of seasons. So he's more durable on that team. And then when I'm talking about the time where it's like, all right, I got to look at the Boogie AD time period, he's giving me like 2.6 blocks and leading the league in blocks. He's also giving me 28 points. He's giving me 11 rebounds. So he's doing those things that everybody's saying, hey, AD, I want you to do that. So I hear you on that winning tip. But I'm also thinking like, all right, Anthony Davis is a top 5 talent. Like, if he's hitting the 3 ball, I'm gonna be honest with you, he might beat Giannis. That's a tough talent to usurp, right? Like, Anthony Davis, Giannis, whoever decides to start hitting their shots more consistently wins the game. And felt like you had that a little bit better on that Pelicans team. So that's why I lean a little bit more with the Pelicans in that situation.
I completely understand everything you're saying with that. I think for me, and again, this is if you're talking AD up until he won a championship. His first year with LA, pretty much. And that's all I'm going off of because I feel like the pressure got to him. He went downhill, injuries and such.
Injuries too,
yeah. But that AD in the championship year was the AD from the Pelicans. But again, he just had to win. Like when he dominated in those playoffs. Portland, monster. What he did to Joker, monster, right? And of course, LeBron just had a brilliant run versus Miami, and you know that was what it was. But AD was still AD that year, and I think that was a big part. Of course, LeBron was still LeBron, but I think that was a big part. You got to think LeBron averaged 25 and 10 AD's first year. LeBron brought his game back a bit, and AD was a lot of times their first option, and even the following year, people forget, bro, they won like almost 60% of their games. I mean, they ended up being like a 7th seed because Bron got hurt. And they would have beat Phoenix. They were up 2-1, and they had control of that series. And they were neck and neck when AD got hurt in game 4. He had back-to-back 34-point games to put them up 2-1. Like, people forget AD was a monster up until he got hurt. And then from there, it was what it was. So, again, I get, like, again, he gets all the blocks, he gets all the steals, his juice rate is up there because he's by far the best player in New Orleans. But I just think we've seen a lot of examples of great players who did that for teams that just did nothing. And it's just like, oh, okay, well, whatever, right? In LA, I think his impact was more so felt with or without Bron on the court. But, yeah, I mean, you can't, at the end of the day, you can't lose. If you're going to take either AD and put him on the team, your team's going to get better. So, yeah, I mean, I can't argue with your point at all because it makes complete sense as well.
Yeah. And my main thing was this. Yeah. I don't need you to agree with me. I just need you to recognize that when you say it's like it's wild statement, I feel like that's wild.
No, it's not wild.
Like that's all wild. I want to say. I'm not trying to make you join my thought process. You know what I'm saying? You got your own thought process. That's the beauty opinion. Yeah. But you came at me when you said, like, every time you say something's wild, that's really what I'm targeting.
Wait, did I say that was wild?
No, that's not wild. Let's reel this back in real quick.
Wait, did I say that was wild? I just want to
make sure that's clear.
I said that was wild?
I swear you did. Like, I swear you did.
I might have said that. If I did, I apologize. If I didn't mean that if I did. I know I said that you saying Boogie is scarier than LeBron is wild, but
I'm talking about the duos. Like, again, that's my opinion. Like, I'm not saying Bron and AD isn't a scary one. It was just my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, that's the main reason why I wanted to address this. I was like, it's wild, like it's stupid. And I put some thought into it. I looked at, you know what I'm saying? I looked at sports reference, like, or basketball reference.
Yeah. Hey, man, listen, man, you know. So but look, man, you gotta do that homework, man.
You got to sometimes. But look, so are you down for one more?
Yeah.
Say less than cool, because you know I like talking boys. So we got another little duo situated, right? We always gotta talk about injuries because of sports, right? I think you'll love them though. Some young guns, Zion and Vucevic. Well, Vucevic kind of old. And then we got Luka versus and Sabonis, right? Which duo do you like in a 2-on-2 game?
Luka and Sabonis. Here's the reason why. I think the playmaking ability, the natural playmaking ability between Luka and Sabonis is amazing. And then I think Luka is a more dangerous scorer. If you're talking, you said a 2-on-2, right?
2-on-2.
I don't think Zion's explosiveness could be utilized as much in a 2-on-2 game as it could be in an up and down, high-paced 5-on-5 game. So I think Luka his ability to score on all three levels, Zion hasn't mastered that yet. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of Zion buckets aren't off the dribble pull-up jump shots, aren't off the dribble. You know what I'm saying? catch, face up, rip through, make a move. They're
Right.
Get it and go right before the defense can set type things. And that's no knock to Zion. I mean, Zion averaged 27 and shot like 60% from the field last time he was on the court. So it's no knockdown. And then just Vucevic, as good as he is, I give him a lot of credit. He grabs boards, he contests shots, he can pass.
Big man.
Yeah. Sabonis is just his motor, and I think he's just better. I mean, at the end of the day, he's just better, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the boogie woogie package by Luka that you think is better than Zion, and then Sabonis hustles more.
I think Luka is the best player easily.
Okay.
And then Sabonis is the third best player easily. So you have two of the three best players as well. So.
Okay. So here's how I'm looking at this: 2-on-2. When I think you removing players, you got most space. It's about are we playing make it take it? Is it the honorable way? You know what I'm saying? Like what we doing, right? So we got first start off with that. But if I'm looking at Zion versus Luka, yes, Luka has more of a bag, but I'm be honest, there were plenty of times where I felt like, you know what, I got more of a bag than somebody, but someone just backing my ass down, and that's all they doing. And then, excuse me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just simple basketball. That's why if you, ladies and gentlemen, I hope somebody young is watching this. Please don't go up against an old head and think you're gonna easily win. Don't think shit is sweet. Please don't.
They ain't gonna be able to do it. Yeah.
It's not that easy because it's a slower paced game. It's just like in the playoffs. You know, these fast paced teams like Lob City never won because playoffs slows down. So I look at the 2-on-2 kind of like that. It's gonna slow down a little bit. I don't think Zion can guard Luka. I think
at all. That's what I was gonna say. At all.
But I don't think
see what Melo
Luka can guard Zion. Like I don't. Like I think Luka.
But if you sag off Zion,
you can sag off Zion. But again, he gonna back him down. Like Zion weighs more. He's more athletic. Like Luka's strength is his strength. That's Zion's as well. So who's stronger? And I think Zion's stronger. Then let's say Zion happens to miss. We already stated he makes 60% against quality bigs. Like throw him up against Rudy Gobert as a lower tier big, he gonna dominate. Put him up against Joel Embiid against an upper tier big, he gonna get saucy. So we gotta go up against Luka, who's 6'7", 6'8", little chubby. You say he slimmed down. That's cool. You need a little more girth to go up against Zion personally. So now what you gonna do? Double team him with Sabonis? You can't, because Vucevic can knock that three down.
Well, here's the thing, I get what you're saying. Vucevic isn't Karl Anthony Towns from three, though.
No, but he's effective enough for me to say, Sabonis, sit your ass put. Like, I'm sorry, I can he is an NBA player who actually can make a three respectably against NBA players. So you mean to tell me in a 2-on-2 game, he can't make an open
if he shot 32% this year?
You said what?
The league average is 36%. I'll be surprised if he shot 32% this year. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. I'll be surprised.
Let me see.
I would be very surprised.
And you talk about playmaking too. His playmaking is solid as well.
I would double that down, and I don't. Again,
let's not discredit Vucevic too. He shot 31.4% this year, but he's a career 35% shooter. So
below league average.
Below league average. The year before this, he was averaging 39. The year before that, he was averaging 41. The year before that, he was
how many 40. Did he shoot?
So I'm just saying.
Look at the numbers,
he is a quality shooter. I'm not saying the boy.
No, he can shoot them, but I would certainly allow him to shoot a ton of threes as I dig in, at least dig in, even if I don't come down and fully double down on Zion posting. But again, I don't think, and in that case, I'll put Sabonis on Zion, and now you got to keep playing it, Like, I don't think Luka's just flat out better than them. He's just flat out better. And I'm not even going to he's flat out better than Zion.
So I'll give you this. He's a better basketball player. In terms of dominance, though, like, you can dominate a game and beat the better basketball player. That is why, that's why I'm saying, okay, like, for example, you can make an argument, right, that Bill Russell was the better basketball player compared to Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was more athletic, like he's more dominant, like Magic Johnson could have been, or Larry Bird could have been the better basketball player, but Jordan was more dominant once he got, because his athleticism was really kicking. Like, imagine Jordan on the same team as Bird and going up against Larry Bird in that same squad. That's an interesting little lineup, and he already called him Black Jesus. Like that dominance factor.
As he swept him out of the playoffs.
You said what?
As he swept him out of the playoffs.
I did want to ask you about that as well,
by the way. Yeah.
You said what?
I did want to ask you a question about that as well, but
what's up?
I don't want to cut you off. I want to let you finish your point.
Oh no, that was it. Essentially, just like that dominance factor is what I'm looking at. I think Zion's the more dominant player in the game, or in this 2 versus 2 scenario. So
okay, well, fair enough. Yeah, I'll definitely put any amount of money I need to up on Zion and Sabonis. But good question though. No, just with the MJ thing. So, you know me, I always argue of course, eras are different and everything. But my biggest issue with people like glorifying, and this question came from when Ja said he would cook Mike, right? And my biggest issue with that is people say, he's tripping and this and that. People glorify Mike for how amazing he was. And he's great. I told you, to me, he's still the GOAT for right now. Like, nobody's taking that throne from him. And however you want to put it, as far as best players, I think GOATs and best players. I think he's a top 2 or 3 best player ever as well. But my issue with Mike and why I've always had a little pushback is the era he dominated was dominated by big men, right? Mm-hmm. The best players were big men. And some of the perimeter players that were there that had the sauce, he had trouble with, right? I always and I don't know how you feel about this, but am I wrong for feeling that he might have gotten a little bit too much praise for how he dominated other perimeter players in that era? Because he was always more athletic, obviously more skilled as well, right? He can run faster, jump higher, and he can shoot the ball. So I don't want to take that away from him, but he can get to the hoop around him. His game was a little more advanced. The average player in that era that was on the perimeter, like Reggie Miller, bro. Like, and no disrespect to Reggie Miller, but come on.
I mean, you try to be that was actually very disrespectful, right?
No. Reggie Miller didn't have no bag, no handle, right? He didn't have no sauce.
He had that ratty though. That's all you need. Put the ball in the hoop. I don't care about all the dribbling. Kyrie, cool, I love him.
I completely agree with that. And that's a lot of players did just that. If you go back and look at Vinnie Johnson and those players, a lot of their game was one move, shoot. Come off screen, shoot. Very textbook basketball. Mike's game was textbook, but he had a lot of sauce in it as well. What I was saying, so you think about players now, Paul Georges, you think about Kawhi's, KD's, Cole's, T-Max, Bron's, the list goes on. And I mean, Paul Pierce to a lesser degree, but still, Paul Pierce is dunking on cats before he, got, chubby and all that. The perimeter players from the 2000s on,
I think that's.
That's always been my issue. Like when Grant Hill against Mike got problems.
So let me ask you this then. Because I feel like it's unfair to say, oh well, his competition was weak. You can point out facts, like for example, when JJ Redick, I just talked about this on the other show. When JJ Redick said that, like Wilton and were playing against plumbers, like Jerry West and them playing against plumbers, like might have been like the first president might have been in attendance. Like you know what I'm saying? Like and they go
that's
back.
It's okay. I don't know why they got pissed off at that. Yeah, some of those guys actually had 9 to 5.
Yeah, but it's disrespectful when you say, oh well, you know, like they were just beating plumbers. Like they're degrading. Honestly, if I'm a plumber, I'm insulted. That's really who should be feeling slighted right now, because that was some of their job. So like
But you don't think he was saying that?
I don't like taking, like, I don't like discrediting the Celtics, even though I say, you know, they didn't have that many teams. Okay, well, they still had to go up against Wilt a lot of times. Like, they dominated what era they had, so they dominated their competition. So if it was an era of big men and everyone thought, hey, big men was the way to go, and the Bulls said, you know what, we're going to take this dark-skinned, brown-headed, or bald-headed cat from UNC and just get saucy. Well, okay, like let's do that. And they dominated that big era. Like, he had an advantage with his athleticism. He can float above everybody. He had that advantage. When I look at Bron, I look at a similar advantage. How many people are 6'8", 250, 260 running like a guard and can pass the ball? They're like, he has an advantage. He still to this day, he's one of the better athletes. So it's like, I can't say, oh well, it's unfair for Michael Jordan because he had that much of an advantage.
Yeah, here's my pushback
when
to
you
that.
got Bron that same degree too.
The average shooting guard wasn't Jordan's height either at that time, or his athleticism. A lot
the
of
average shooting guard also wasn't really being focused on, because again, it's a big league. Like,
he was an elite guard with the physical ability as well as the athletic ability and the skill, going up against most players that weren't his size. Anything for that matter. That's all I'm saying. Like with Bron, KD is a 7 foot tall beast who LeBron is matching up with. Paul Pierce is 6'7", 6'8", monster all time. Melo 6'8", all time great. Top 8 all time scoring now. Where's Melo on the list now? Like all these players, like Sean Marion was in Bron's prime. Karan Butler, like all of these guys were two-way players. A lot of them were super athletic. Desmond Masons of the world, right? And they could get a bucket on your ass, bro.
But they're not the athlete that Bron is. But he still has the advantage.
But here we go. Kobe, you talk about T-Mac, you talk about Vince Carter, you talk about KD, you talk about some guys who have a lot of these same, like Mike had Clyde Drexler, who Clyde is that guy. I don't want to, and I always give Mike credit for that. Yeah, Clyde.
You also had Penny as well. You had Penny as well.
And Penny was giving Mike all types of problems.
But you saw what happened though, like
what?
Like Jordan ended up winning them rings. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, but
Penny didn't. Like you had Grant Hill that was there. Like
injuries, but yeah.
Yeah, injuries did happen, but like again,
just like Grant Hill.
There, like you even a Joe Dumars, yeah, cool, he's 6'3", 6'4", that's fine. And MJ 6'6", that's still a tough player. Like D Wade 6'4". Like is that really? Are we gonna say Bron didn't have good competition because D Wade was 6'4"?
D Wade is a freakish athlete. D Wade was played like he's 6'8". Dumars didn't play like he was 6'8".
But Dumars was still getting you a quality bucket. That's a 1-2 option on that bad boys Pistons. Like I can't discredit Dumars when he's a quality player. That's like, all right, I gotta.
I think you're missing my point though. Yeah, because I'm not. Again, I wasn't disrespecting.
I get it.
Yeah, like Dumars. Again, I brought him up on purpose. Like Vinny Johnson, Dumars, and those guys, monsters. But their game was so like just textbook. When you look at Chris Jackson, you look at AIs, you look at Grant Hills. Steve Smith gave Mike some problems at times. There are certain players who had that sauce to their game where Mike didn't know what to do. And now all I'm saying is, you think about the players now with the step back game and the Euro game and the 30-foot like.
But that's evolved, and that's evolution, though. Like, I think if you put Michael Jordan in today's game, this man is ridiculous. Because again, his athleticism is on.
But I think he'll blend in more. And that's the point I was making. Correct. I think he'll blend in more than stand. Now he was the outlier back then, right? I do think he would dominate still, though. I do think he would dominate. Dominate? Because people say average 40. He won't average 40. Because there's guys that are just athletic that can stick with him. It's not like he had handles like.
That's tough because Mike had the
wasn't
hands
a 3-point shooter.
Mike got the hands like Kawhi. He got so we've seen Kawhi sit up there and give you a casual 25 to 30 piece, right? I think Mike's a better scorer than Kawhi. He's also more aggressive. And when I think of Mike, I think Kobe. When I think Kobe in this era, Kobe would give me 30 to 35. So I'm looking at Mike in that 30 to 35 range. Like 40 is wild. But like Mike
40 is wild, right?
Some James Harden stuff. Like Mike is what can you do? Like he's gonna drive to the lane. He's 6'6", but the man is strong as hell. So like it's either he makes the bucket, he misses, or you foul him. Like
I
it's
can
that
see
simple.
that. I agree with that though. I can
Yeah.
see him getting 35, but also because he shoots 27 shots a game. But yeah,
I mean,
can
but
see
when
him.
you averaging 50%, like as a guard, like,
Yeah.
like I go ahead, pull the trigger, fella.
Yeah.
Like that's how I'm looking.
Yeah, so I can definitely see him averaging 30 to 35 in a few seasons.
Yeah,
But
and
I don't think I just don't think he'll dominate the way people try to make it seem. I think he'll blend in.
I disagree because I think, like you said, Jordan was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
There was a clip of him shooting the ball with the Chicago Bulls, and he was shooting the ball damn near from half court so effortlessly, and like Steve Kerr was up there pushing the ball. Steve Kerr, their best 3-point shooter,
52% from the 3-point line 1 year. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like I think in today's game, especially with the floor being spaced out, and I'm giving him to because Mike is a hard worker, so he's not gonna have a
that's unfair. That's unfair.
He gonna sit up there and he gonna have more boogie woogie to his game.
That's unfair, bro.
But I have to give a hypothetical, and when I'm taking in
that's unfair though, because that's
and
like
how the game is evolving.
This is the only reason I say that's unfair. It's because we don't say, oh, well, if Bron really wanted to, he could shoot 80% from the line. That's unfair. Mike had a 3-point line, and there were other players that were considered great 3-point shooters back then. And they said, Mike, no, but there were players that shot and made 3-pointers, even on his team. B.J. Armstrong, Steve Kerr, Paxton, shot and made. Like, Mike just couldn't do it. The only time he shot a great percentage from 3 is the year they moved the 3-point line in. People try to say, oh, if he wanted to shoot, what up? You cannot do that. Mike was a perfectionist. He was adamant about being great at every single thing. The one thing he couldn't master was 3-point shooting. He made 3 shots in the 3-point shooting contest, and that is nowhere to be found anymore. He never participated again. He just wasn't a 3-point shooter, and it's fine.
Bro, in the playoffs, in the playoffs, ranging from 1991 to 1996, the worst he shot was 37% from the 3.
Right. How many threes he was shooting per game?
3. And again, back then.
So
no. But you're talking about an era where the 3 ball was not prevalent like that. It's not like today's game. It's a little bit different. It's slower pace too. Like that fact, you gotta factor that type of stuff in. Like,
bro, but listen, and this is the only reason why it's tough for me to factor that in. Because Steve Kerr was shooting 52% from 3, 45% for his career from 3. Reggie Miller, great 3-point shooter. Dale Curry, great 3-point shooter. You have players that were shooting and making, and Mike is Mike. We know how competitive he is, right? He's done everything else. The one thing he did not do right is make threes, and that's the excuse people try to give him is, oh, he didn't really care or try to. That's unfair. Because other players have flaws. We don't say, oh, Shaq didn't try to make free throws. We don't say, well, and Bill Russell didn't try to make free throws. We don't say Magic didn't try to make 3-pointers. We don't say Steph didn't try to play defense on him. Like, it was his flaw. And it's again, I still think he got his 30 without having it. But I just think we got to, and I'm not saying it specifically. I hear so many people try to give him that, oh, well, if he wanted to. It's like, no, he just couldn't. And it's fine. God made no basketball player perfect.
But you say he couldn't, and yet he's making, like, he takes 3 and makes, he takes 3.4, makes 1.4. Like I'm sorry, in an era where you're not taking a lot of threes as a team,
he's essentially Russell Westbrook
still, and that's not part of the game as a whole. I can't say he can't do it.
Bro,
like, that's evidence right there that he can. Like,
the line in.
You said what?
The only good year he had was the year they moved the line in. He's essentially Russell Westbrook.
I literally just rattled off a whole bunch of years where he shot respectable from the 3. You're just not giving him credit.
Though?
Huh?
What is respectful?
37%.
Yeah. What year was that?
You mean years? And mind you, I said that's the lowest. So that particular year was 95. God, right. After that, it's 38. It's really 38 or 38.5 and on up. Then he has a 40 piece in there as well. Bring it up. Huh?
What are you talking? His regular season or his
playoffs?
Oh, you're talking playoffs. So in other words,
when it most matters, I'm sorry. Like,
no, but now when it most matters, so LeBron in the finals shot 50% from 3. He has some what for his career, but that's not what we only. You know what I'm saying? Now we're nitpick. Okay, Now, since he shot bad in the regular season, let's talk about what he did just in the
So
playoffs.
he has a 43% for his career or for in a season.
Yeah,
he got a
and they moved the
38%.
three-point line in that
He got
year.
a 37%. He got a 35%. And again, back then, that's not part of the game. If you're telling me Michael Jeffrey Jordan has to come into this era of basketball and he can't learn a three-point jump shot,
we can't do that, man. We can't. I promise you. Listen,
then you can't. All right.
I'm not.
We will agree to disagree, but that is a wild take. Like the fact that you're saying Jordan cannot shoot a three consistently in this era too. Like,
but Trey, this is all I'm saying. Could you at least give me this? The fact that when was the 3-point line introduced? Like 73 or something?
79.
Like, 79. So 3-point shooting was a thing, bro. He had players in his teams that would, like, for us just to say, oh, if he would have played in this era, he would have then tried. Just like 3-pointers were around his era. That's like saying if he would have played in this era, he would have shot more free throws. It's like free throws were a thing back then as well. There were players
he would have shot more free throws. He would have got to the line more. And again, if you're telling me,
but he shot well.
If you're telling me that the NBA 3-point line came in the 1979-1980 season, when was Mike drafted? Like, that's kind of early into the career. And so you're telling me now that the game that just acquired a 3-point line, is he going to be trigger happy? No, he's been driving to the paint.
But this is the excuse we're giving Mike and not anyone else. We didn't. Reggie Miller, Glenn Rice.
Reggie's not as athletic like that. You know good and damn well that if you're an athlete, typically you're gonna drive to the paint because that's an easy play. That's what Bron did. Bron eventually became a better shooter. Over time, you get better.
But bro,
I can't say Jordan.
But Mike gained his mid-range after he stopped being a highlight film as well, and that's when he really started winning, when he stopped trying to dunk over everybody. But, bro, that's what you're supposed to do. I get that. But even when he became a great mid-range shooter, he still wasn't a great three-point shooter. Like, that's all I'm saying, bro. Like,
no one wants you to... He'll be respectable from the three-point shot. I'm not telling you he's going to be Steph Curry. He'll be you can't leave him open. Like, you're gonna have to guard him.
I mean, if he's gonna shoot 23% and 19% and 29% and 18% and 13%, like, I'm looking, I'm just like, man, like, what am I supposed to do with these numbers, bro? Like, he attempted.
You're talking about you're talking about his rookie season, pretty much his early seasons.
Bro, he's only shot 35 or more
4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not counting the 50% one.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't count that. So yeah, I mean, and the 42% was the year they moved the 3-point line, man. Yeah, man, I'm looking. It's like he shot 37%, then came right back and shot 23%. In the last 2 years, he shot 19% and 29%. Like, I'm just looking, bro. Like, come on, man. We gotta hold it. Like, I don't like him shooting 0.6 threes per game, bro. If you're shooting at least 1 3 a game, then that's what I'm going for. If you're shooting 0.6 threes per game, I'm not holding that against him. But you're shooting 1, 2, 3, 4 threes a game, bro. He attempted them. So that means essentially, if you shot 3 per game, you're shooting 200 threes a season, 240 threes a season, bro. Like, that's all,
what this is, Freddie, is I'm taking into account that's not how the game was played. That's not his game. That's not his style of play. That's like me saying, oh, I'm going to bash DeMar DeRozan. Actually, no, I would bash DeMar DeRozan more now than I would MJ, because, again, that's not how the game was played. DeMar DeRozan said, hey, I'm going to be a mid-range shooter my entire career. MJ, he played in the era where, again, the three-point shot is more so for specialists. You have Reggie Miller made it look cool because he was 6'6" and he could shoot over other players. If he was 6'3" doing the same stuff, he'd be another Steve Kerr. Ray Allen made it a little bit better because he was a little bit athletic.
No, he was a lot of it.
I'm comparing him to Jordan. Stop that.
No, Ray
can catch a body. Ray's caught body. But if I want to compare him to MJ, T-Mac, Kobe, Bron, Ray has a little bit of athleticism. So
yeah,
like,
but he has the shooting overall.
and that helps. So it's like those caliber players. That was their game. Like that's what they did in college. Like that's what they like that's what they were good at. That's what they're great at. That's why they did it. MJ was an athlete like none other.
So can I just ask you this one question and based on that? So why I don't get it. Why is it LeBron's free throw shooting such a big deal then when he shoots 75%?
Because in the fourth quarter it drops to 50, or in a close game it drops to 50.
All right, let me ask you this: how many games has Mike won shooting threes? How many games has LeBron lost shooting free throws? There's no game that we can mention that Bron has lost by missing free throws.
Do you want sympathy for LeBron getting criticism on making terrible free throws when, mind you, Jordan made 83% of his free throws?
But LeBron was a
or we could talk
so no,
84% for the season for his career. Like, and again, we also slandered Shaq for his free throws. Like, what's the problem?
But he made them at the end of games, though.
Who?
Like Shaq made his free throws at the end of games.
What free throws? What games we talking about? Not all of them. Trust me. I watched.
Not all of them. He didn't
make all his free throws, and people complained about that. He was a terrible free throw shooter for his career. If you go from 70 something to 50s and close, that was the thing. Yes, but for Bron, if you're going from 70 something to 50s in the in a close game at a free throw, as a star, can't rock with that. So let me ask you this: Jordan Trey, doesn't do that.
Do you have any real recollection of that? Is that something that somebody just said? Because trust me, I've asked tons of people this. What game has he lost his team by shooting free throws bad? I know he's won his team games and he's kept his team close to making free throws in there, but we don't have any recollection of him. You know what I'm saying?
Is every loss always one moment, or is it multiple things? Like,
but what I'm saying, you said at the end of the game, you go back to the line 3 or 4 times.
If you want, I will gladly find some.
Yeah, do you think?
I do remember watching in the past, vividly watching him miss a shot, like a free throw, and it's like, damn, that's tough. And I can't tell you who the competition was because it's many years ago. I'm not searching for that. Like that stat was researched. Yeah. But again, I'm also seeing other points too. So I mean, like if someone don't say it,
I'm attacking.
What?
Yeah, I'm not attacking you on that at all. But
I'm
attacking that because so many people say that, but nobody. Yeah.
Because to be fair, anybody could have that stat up, but that also goes then to the point of that clutch moment thing. Like, Bron's more clutch than Jordan and MJ based on this stat. Well, what time period are we talking about? Because you could be talking about this moment in time, but then if we shrink it, okay, what happens now? Or if we expand it, what happens now? What's your definition of clutch? So everyone's data is always going to be different. So I'll give you that.
And I think it maybe like for me, clutch is big games, big series, big shots, big defensive plays, big assists, just in general accumulation of things. Like Bron has the shots, Bron has defensive plays, defensive moments, has the fourth quarters, has the games, has the series, has all of that, and just in his resume to be considered clutch. And now there's players you can say that you may think is more clutch. That's fine. Of course, that's always something that can be argued because it's somewhat subjective. But I mean, again, I don't know. Again, we look at everything, the totality of everything. He's won games, won series, I got Derrick Rose right now. I'm about to lock Derrick Rose up real quick because Derrick Rose think the MVP.
MJ has done the same thing. Like, I guess I'm really kind of, like, I just want to make sure you feel like we're not fairly criticizing MJ just because of the talent, because of LeBron James and what he's had to go up against. Because I think, just correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like this is part of that whole GOAT discussion where people discredit Bron because they say, the finals record gets brought up. But then Bron fans say, Bron had to go up against much tougher talent. And it's like the argument that y'all try to use a lot. And I hear it. I mean, the game's just evolved. Like, and again, he's had an advantage as well. To go back to that point, I can't say we're being unfair. Like if anything,
So-
if anything, I think we're being unfair to the eras because how can we compare? Like how can we fairly compare Wilt and Bill Russell to Giannis right now? Like how I watched the clip of Bill Russell, no lie, I was like, oh shit, that is Giannis. Whoa, because he ran the way, like he was dribbling the ball, just passed it, I'm like, there's moments, okay, but then you look at the competition, he's not running up against people his height. The game is different, even the way they're dribbling is different, so it's not fair to compare these eras. Like that's why I put the basketball god stuff. Because I don't want to compare those eras. I think it's different. They dominated in their era. You got to tip the cap to them. Just like after a certain point in time, the game's gonna change. You're gonna see a 4 and 5 point lead, a 4 and 5 point line. Well, next thing you know, all right, damn, are we gonna be talking about Steph Curry like that? But you see what I'm saying?
No, they better not do that. Yeah,
the game's gonna evolve. So, like you said, they moved the 3-point line. So why won't they?
So I don't want to get the main point lost because I do want to respond to that. Not like with Will and. I do get what you're saying. They did face each other like 7 times in the playoffs, so that's a lot of time. So you can see just like, all right, Wilt was who he was, and they're both former track stars and all this. They're super athletes. So just watching them two go up against each other, you kind of got an idea of, you know, and Bill Russell was just always winning. I mean, you can say his teams were, Boston teams were stacked and all that. And Bill Russell looked like a super athlete as well, even during that time, like you said. But I definitely get what you're saying. Comparing eras, Giannis to them, the evolution of game. But like again, just with like the Mike and Bron thing, not to be the dead horse, people only talk about the fact Mike won 6 rings. Again, I look at who you went against in those moments. I don't see a lot like Indiana teams. I don't see as anything special. The Knicks teams, nothing special to me. Charlotte teams he beat, Nets, nothing special. Now, the old Detroit, I give him credit for, whether they were old or not, I give him credit for it because he overcame dynasty in a sense, right? So I don't want to take that away from him. I want to give him that. He beat Magic in Magic's last year, but it was in the finals, and he had a great. So I give him that type of stuff. But a lot of those teams just weren't like the excuse you say LeBron when he beat OKC. I can say that's what happened when Mike beat Orlando, right? In 95. Like Orlando was young as hell, right? Shaq was 2-3 years in the league, Penny the same. So like I just don't think when we look back at those teams, there weren't really legendary. There weren't many legendary teams in the 90s. Like, and so like the Supersonics team. Not legendary. The Jazz was probably...
But isn't that because, though, they lost to Jordan? Think about Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is ringless because of MJ. Like,
possibly.
Like,
I mean, he also lost some series he shouldn't have lost as well. So, yeah, he definitely lost to Mike a few times in the playoffs. I get what you're saying for sure, especially in Phoenix. But he also lost some series he shouldn't have lost.
I mean, but that happens. We can say the same thing for Bron. We can say the same thing for Kobe, KD, Steph. That like losing happens. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like,
and I'm talking about
And so I was telling somebody either today or the other day. I think there are so many teams that get discredited just because of Jordan. Like Karl Malone and John Stockton as
was
a
probably
duo, scary. Now you can discredit John Stockton all you want.
No,
I do.
You can't.
No. I do when we're comparing him to the other like point guards in the history. Like that's the only time I will quote unquote discredit because you got to say who's higher than who. But John Stockton as a talent, he was a good defender, he was a good playmaker, and he can shoot the ball. Good for me. So let them get one championship. Like let them lose to the Bulls the first time and then come back and win. Whole different discussion. We're talking about Karl Malone, possibly top 10, guaranteed.
For me, they're a top probably 15 team all time.
But if they win a title, guarantee you they go up.
Yeah, but think about it. In the 80-year history of basketball, wherever we're at now, 75-year history of basketball, where to be a top 15 team to me is amazing. If they're not top 15, they're top 20. So I give them credit for that. But I also think Houston was one. And one team Mike couldn't beat was Houston. He didn't have to play them because
He
He
didn't have to
like,
play, but to be
yeah.
fair though, he
Now,
did have
outside-
some family history. That's why I tell
What's
that tells
your
on his
family
friends a
history?
little bit. I give him a pass on that because
Who?
he retired from Mike. He retired from the
Oh
game.
no.
I don't know.
He got
I
burned
know,
out.
like
Yeah.
his thing about his father just passed. You know, he was they loved baseball. Like it's not like it could have been the gamble. I know the gambling story was
No,
out.
I
there
don't. Yeah, I don't
afterwards.
think he was forced
Like,
out. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
I hate that people try to get when he retired. He retired twice. People say, "Oh, well," it's like, bro, look, he only played 15 years. Like, and again, he put all into it, right? So I mean, he put his all into it. He worked 24/7, 365 year round. So I don't. But I'm like, still, I mean, I gotta when we're bringing everything together, it's just like, yo, he retired twice. Like, yeah. But yeah, Hakeem's Rockets and the Utah were the only other two legendary teams in the 90s. So, of course, and then you got your Bulls, but that's it. You talk about the 2010s, you got the Spurs, which is a top 10 team all time. You could say higher. You got Golden State, which is the top 2 team all time, right? Like, those are two of the greatest teams of all time. And that's pretty much the only teams Bron faced. And of course, Dallas he lost to, which is
I wouldn't call that a top team.
Cool.
That was Dallas.
No. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Dirk
he lost
did well, but right now, off your math, I'm counting 2 good teams for the Bulls or in Jordan, and then 2 for Bron. So
Right.
it's like,
but listen to me. He played Spurs and Golden State. That's the only 2 teams he's playing outside of the Mavericks. Mike only played Jazz twice. Other than that, he played.
But you go up against Gary Payton and them boys, and Gary Payton just won Defensive Player of the Year. He was throwing up 20.
Marcus Smart
like,
just won Defensive Player of the Year, bro. Come on, baby.
The coaching was a little off. Like, I'm not saying GP stops Jordan. I'm saying that you have the Defensive Player of the Year. That's like saying, okay, I got Marcus Smart. I ain't going to throw him on Steph Curry. Like, you have Jaylen Brown, but you have the Defensive Player of the Year. Why not utilize it? Now, granted, Marcus Smart's not the same offensive weapon that Gary Payton was.
Yeah,
but
and I agree with all that for sure. Because I think if they started with GP on them, they had a better chance. But that team is just not a historic team. And that's all I'm saying. Simply, they're not a historic team at all. I
can make a case for that. I can make a case for that Sun squad that they can be considered a historic team too. Like, it just depends on how you look at it. Like Mike had like that Portland team that Mike.
I'm not trying to make Caleb. I'm just saying it is what it is. This San Antonio Spurs team would have ran through the 90s.
But you're saying that though with evolution the way it has been, like, and that's what I'm saying. We can't say, oh well, this would happen with it. You can say this particular player,
but bro, just based on like the Spurs don't play no evolved style of game. They play old school game. Like just based on coaching,
skill wise, like how players are built, they're different. You mean tell me Tony Parker versus Steve Kerr is a fair comparison?
Well, no, but I doubt Steve Kerr be guarding Tony Parker, bro. But I mean, I'm not trying to get that deep into it. What I'm saying is the Spurs teams in the history of the game are historic, right? Franchising teams. The Warriors are historic. They are. It's not. They could have been. Should have been. They are that. Like I can argue that Dallas team is better than the Sonics team that Mike played. There's a very good argument for it, in fact, because that team beat the back-to-back championship, 3 times final appearance, Lakers. They beat KD and Russ, OKC, who was a very tough team. And they either beat the Spurs or Portland, who were both formidable opponents. And then they went out and beat LeBron and Wade, who was running through everybody. So, I mean, again, just the opponents. But, again, even beyond that, just who you had to match up against. Bron matched up against Paul Pierce. Bron matched up against Caron Butler and Anton Jameson. Bron matched up against freaking not Kobe. I'll take it back. Playoffs. So let me keep it playoffs. Bron matched up against Clay, Dre, and Steph on the perimeter. Like Kawhi.
Do you give any credit to Bron picking his? And I feel like this is where we're gonna differ again too. And because Bron's picked every play, his players that he's played with after he left Cleveland the first time, of course.
Yeah.
But you pick your players, you pick your teams. Like I don't like. I'm sorry, like you pick playing with D-Wade, you pick playing with Kyrie, you pick playing with AD. Jordan just got Pippen drafted. Like Jordan just hooped. Like I factor that in too. So I mean, Like it's
You know
who he went up against. That's cool, but like Bron's played with more all stars.
you know why? But so let me answer that for you. You know why Mike got Pippen and Horace Grant? Because Mike could not win. So they were able to get good draft picks, but also they were bringing in pieces. Sam Vincent from Boston was a champion who actually started to turn things around for them after he took over some of Mike's ball handling responsibilities right before they went out and got Pippen and Horace Grant. They brought in the B.J. Armstrongs, the Steve Kerrs, guys that came from these other organizations.
So he had a good organization.
They went out and got Bill Cartwright to replace his Charles Oakley. They went out and got some pieces. Freaking, when you talking about the second timer, they went out and got Dennis Rodman.
So his organization went out and did well.
Yes.
And here's my thing.
Okay.
Here's my thing. Bron had a great organization with the Miami Heat. What did he do? He told everybody off the break, we gonna win not 5.
But Trey, can we start? Let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the order.
I'm like, bro, I get you going back to the Cavs to win it for home, right? I understand that. But if the issue is, you've never had a good organization and a good coach, you had one.
Trey, now let's make sure we stay consistent. Any player in the top 15, I always use this because most people don't realize this. Look at them 7 years into their career. Any player in the top 15 players of all time, whether...
I'm not talking about the first 7, though.
Listen, because you said, LeBron always picks. He was at Cleveland winning from his second year on, right? And his team were not great.
I said excluding the first stint on the Cavs.
I'm leading up to that, but let me preface it for a second, please. So he was winning 50 to 60 games a year. He was getting the trashiest lineup ever to make the finals, or at least one of the 2 or 3 trashiest ones ever to make the finals. He was so good that he was able to do more with less and will his team that far of year to where they couldn't get good draft picks. So he's like, all right, bring somebody in. Let me get help. Jonas Augustus can't be my second best player, averaging 12 points. Give me some help. Old Antawn Jamison, who couldn't make it through the season. Old Shaq. Old Ben Wallace. Lucius Harris, who couldn't stay healthy. Right? 7 years in, he played out his contract. He fought. Meanwhile, teams are literally stockpiling their rosters to make sure they can beat him. Look at Detroit. Look at Boston. Look at Orlando. Look at the Wizards. Look at these teams, Chicago, that were just stockpiling. And it's like, okay, so I'm asking for help. I need help. I'm so good that I'm getting us here. You can't draft. You can't bring in players. I have to go. Now, who else did that? Mike did it, and Kobe did it. Mike couldn't win, and Kobe couldn't win. Mike threatened to leave if they didn't figure it out. Kobe threatened to leave if they didn't figure it out. Every other player had help. Kareem had help from the beginning with Oscar. Tim Duncan had help. You know who he had. Steph, they built well around him after a few years. KD came to a great situation to build around him. Hakeem came in with some good people around him. Anybody you want to name on the all-time list had great stuff around him within 7 years. Bron didn't. He went elsewhere and said, okay, let me do something and go and get mine. Because at the end of the day, that has to happen because they're not bringing it here. He went the way, got Bosh. I told you I wasn't for that, right? He left after 4 years, won them 2 rings, went to 4 straight finals, and dominated. I mean, it is what it was. His last year there, he got into the finals. And Wade and Bosh averaged 13 points apiece in the playoffs. And Wade was at that point a shell of himself. So, and Bosh just was soft box. Bron shot 50% from the field, 50% from 3, and averaged 28 a game. It literally was clear that they had nothing there. He went back home and won a championship at home. I don't think, it was justified after he went back to Cleveland. If he never won in Cleveland, I couldn't even defend what he did in Miami.
It's funny. We call this man soft Bosh, but yeah, he's throwing up 20 points a game.
Never. Never.
So,
never. Not with Miami. He suffered the same way.
Bro, so one thing I need you to do is stop saying never because you're wrong when you say that. You said DeAndre Ayton would never be a 20 and 10.
No,
he's a 20 and 10 caliber player. Listen, I gave you all the time to talk.
His career is over.
This man on the Miami Heat definitely averaged 20, and he actually averaged 21.
Not with LeBron.
19 the following season. I gave you all the time to talk. Chill out. Now look, You're saying he never could average 20. Well, he does. Now you're telling me, oh well, LeBron should have left. No, he shouldn't have. Because if you have Pat Riley backing you, you have Eric Spoelstra, who still today is one of the best coaches in the NBA. Like, you have all that behind you to support, and you just highlighted what I said earlier. And that's why I said I'm not talking about the first stint with the Cavs. You have everything you need, but you leave because you want to win a title for the organization that really did not believe you, like really did not support you, really was talking shit about you behind your back. Let's not bring up Delonte West and that stuff. Like and more. And I probably a lot of people knew. Like that's not.
But that doesn't matter.
That's not what I'm going to go back to. I'm going to stay with the Miami Heat. I'm confident Dwayne Wade knew, hey, I'm injured. Like, I'm ailing. I'll take a pay cut. That's fine. Like, Pat Riley, you mean tell me Pat Riley would not look out for D-Wade, really? You don't think Bron and D-Wade and Chris Bosh would say, hey, let's take a little pay cut situation? Like, Chris Bosh at averaging 20 points around?
Never.
Again, I'm looking at it, Freddie. If I'm telling
18,
you, I'm looking
18,
at the
like
stats.
17 and 16.
If I'm telling you, I'm looking at the stats, and it says 21 points, bro. You got to
LeBron left though. That's LeBron was gone. LeBron was in Cleveland 14 and 15.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
No, he was in Cleveland in 14 and 15. I was 18, 18, 16, 16.
I'm saying he's okay. Even then, I'm sorry. 18 points, 19 points a game. It's still a 20-point per game scorer, bro. Like before he got there, he was a 24, 20. Either way, you have a decent situation. And hindsight, you actually end up losing Chris Bosh, which you mean to tell me you now have Bron and an aging D-Wade who's taking a pay cut. And you know he's going to take a pay cut because, again, Pat Riley's going to look out. Bron's his guy. They're going to get all this stuff hammered out. He'll be fine. Who would want to play with Bron and Eric Spoelstra in Miami Heat or with the Miami Heat? Like, you don't need to leave that situation because you end up going to the Cavs and people discredit your ring there. You go to the Heat. I like your odds a lot better there, and you still have a hard time bringing people over to the Cavs. Everybody that they brought from the first go round, they pretty much kept. You lose Kyrie, or you get the trade for Kyrie. That's why you were able to get some of those players back. You don't have that issue with the Heat. You can bring in whoever you want to. So again, you have everything you wanted, but you left, and you want me to say it's unfair to compare like Bron to MJ? Like,
do I get to answer this or
Bron got to choose where he got to go. Okay. So that's why I can't give him that. Okay. I can't say it's unfair. Like they both had advantage, they use them. Like, and on top of that, Bron chose his squad. Like,
gotcha. All right, now can I answer? So with the Bosh thing, like I say, he definitely never averaged 20 with Bron, and it's part of. I've used that in my example with Russ even at time. So I know he never averaged 20 with Bron because it was part of my point with Bosh, Kevin Love, and Russ.
If you're saying with Bron, then no. But he's averaged 20 without him, and he's averaged close.
Right.
Like he's 19.
But I know his numbers, bro. I promise you, I know his numbers. He became a better 3-point shooter after Bron left too, and like he was still in contract, and him and Wade were doing okay without Bron. They weren't in the championship yet. But again, Bosh became a number 2 option again, so he kind of went back a little bit to old Bosh. The problem was, in the finals, Bosh looked like Chris Soft, as I said. And Wade was his knees were deteriorating before our eyes. That started second year of the play with Bron. But I don't think it's necessarily a crime that Bosh was on contract, but he had the blood clot issue.
But you would have removed him and then brought somebody else
But this is hindsight, though. You know what I'm saying? Because you couldn't foresee that was going to happen.
Even still, you have Bosh as a number 2 option. You bring I'm moving D Wade down. I'm demoting D Wade a little bit because again, I'm thinking I can restructure that contract. He's going to take that pay cut. He's already done it before. He's made more than enough money, and he knows he wants to get a chip. So if that's his aim, you're gonna have to take a pay cut.
No.
Oh, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Could you hear me now, bro?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I was just saying. With that, I feel like we're talking hypothetical. But
we have to
because. Huh?
We have to though. Like this whole scenario is hypothetical. That's why. Him staying is a hypothetical because factually,
So I get what you're saying. Okay, yeah, but so what I'm just saying is the reason why he left though after that was because he saw again Bosh and Wade just.
No, I get it. I understand the reasoning. I'm saying from a culture standpoint, you had what you wanted. Like
right, but now let me ask you this, because we saw KD. Do you think? And I respected him for going back to Cleveland. It sounds like you don't appreciate the fact he left Miami. I hate the fact he went to Miami. What you said, brother? I'm sorry.
No. So I was saying with the thing about Bron that KD couldn't have. KD would have had Steph Curry. Like they're in their primes.
Yeah,
they're going to be like Steph Curry today is still healthy as hell. Like this man. Like, I don't know
the best
how it
version
happened.
of him I've ever seen.
Like he kind of reversed how shit goes. Like usually you start out healthy, then you get injured. Like in this case, this man started off injured, got healthy. Like it's wild. So that wouldn't have happened.
Stronger, bro.
Like Kevin Durant would have had to battle that. He would have had to say, "I'm this much better than Steph." Every single year for everybody to be like, you know what? It's not Steph's team. It's really Kevin Durant's team. With Bron, he at least lucked out in losing D Wade to health. So now you can say, okay, it's not D Wade's team anymore. This is clearly LeBron James' squad. Like, this is his team. It's almost like when you have Shaq and Kobe. All right, cool. Kobe was like 1A, 1B. But you're probably gonna say Shaq's the one option because you're gonna attribute those to Shaq.
I do want to steal the mic back for a second because now, so what you saying that okay, it's not you? Doesn't that kind of justify him going back to his hometown to win a championship for his hometown, aka his team?
No, because we look at
now it sounds like he doesn't get credit for going to Miami and winning with Bosh and Wade. He doesn't get credit for winning in Cleveland because Draymond got suspended for 1 out of 7 games. He doesn't get credit in LA for winning because it was a bubble. So in other words, this man just can't do anything right.
Well, I think he gets credit, and I'm not gonna put words in everybody's mouth. For the Heat, you get credit. Like you played the games. You know what I'm saying? Like you get credit for how you played in the Mavericks. You get credit for how you played in OKC. I told you, like, yes, they were lucky that them boys were young. I didn't say they didn't lose, like they didn't win. They won in 5. Like that's factual. I can't take that away. They beat the Spurs. I can sit up there and say, well, you know what? The Spurs could have got cheated on some calls. Stuff happened. Manu and Kawhi both missed free throws at the end of the game. So they missed their opportunity. They won that one, and they got their tail beat that next go round. But they won those 2. I can't take credit. I can't discredit them.
Because Bosh and Wade had 13 again.
I mean, that's cool, but still lost. Then we look at Kevin Durant, and I hear so much slander on Kevin Durant because they're saying he's a runner, he's a track star. That's what Bron looked like. Like you ran from the quote unquote grind and from the Cavs. Again, I'm talking about perception. You ran from the grind, really. You ran from a bad organization. You went to the Miami Heat. Cool. But then when stuff got a little shaky, you dipped. And then you dipped to a scenario that just happened to be a good one. All right, cool. Then you stay there for another. And then when it starts getting a little tricky, you dip. And now look at what's happening right now. Okay. Stuff's seeming like it's getting a little tricky. So this extension, how is that going to go?
Well, that's based on the Sun, though. Let's not be unfair. That's based on the Sun. No.
I get that. But I'm talking right now. Like he could sign an extension or leave after this season. So it's like, what's he going to do? That's what I'm saying. Like that's the narrative he's running. Right.
So, but now the difference between KD and Bron running, quote unquote, is Bron was always in the finals. So regardless of it, he was always at least able to get his team. KD was never able to get his team there after, except for one time when you consider him young. I don't consider him young because they beat a bunch of veteran teams on their way to losing to LeBron.
But he went to a super team that actually stayed relatively healthy, and then the people who he had to beat were.
Who's that you talking?
Bron. So when Bron.
What super team did he go to?
Hold on. When Bron goes from the Heat to the Cavs, right? You got that first year where they're not healthy. After that, though, you're relatively healthy. And
which team was a super team?
And the Heat team that you're talking about, that's a super team right there that
which
he
team?
had. The Heat squad. I'm talking
Why
about.
Is it a super team?
That Heat squad?
Yeah.
With D Wade and Chris. What were they called when they first joined?
The Heatles.
Like that's a super team. Like
why is
like,
it a super
like,
team? I'm not
like,
asking you what they were. Why were they a super team to you? What made them a super team to you? I just seen two players that was the star in their team, and Wade was a superstar. Don't get me wrong. I never seen Bosh as a superstar. I just saw Bosh as a person that played at Toronto and couldn't win 40 games, but just put up numbers. The same way I saw Kevin Love. So I don't look at
Draymond
numbers.
Was Draymond a superstar? Was Klay Thompson a superstar?
Wait, huh? Wait,
like I said it was a super team, not a.
To me, Klay Thompson is better than Chris Bosh, though.
What I'm saying is, you just said Chris Bosh was not a superstar. No. I said that team was a super team. I never said anything about Chris Bosh being a superstar. So you threw that in there, and I threw the Warriors as examples, saying Klay Thompson's not a superstar, but they were a super team. Draymond's not a superstar, but they were a super team. Even like, right? I think
they're both better than Chris Bosh, though. That's what I'm saying. That's like, so I'm just telling you when you say, I'm like, okay, I get Wade.
The point was they're a super team. Like that was
right.
The point.
And that's what I'm trying to get from you. What makes a team a super team?
You said what do you mean? What makes a super team? It's having two top 5 players and an all-star to boot. Like D Wade and Bron were top 5 players, and you're telling me Chris Bosh, who's a perennial all-star, is also joining. We're talking about a top 20 player worst case right now. Like, come on now.
So that's I mean, that's like saying when Mike picked up Dennis Rodman and picked up not Tony Kukoc, excuse me, almost said Tony Kukoc. Ron Harper, who's averaging 20 plus every single year, was a super athlete. That's one of them guys that was one of those guys back in the actually. Super athlete, average 20, lock you up and give you 20 to 25, like year in and year out. So when Chicago got him and got Dennis Rodman, that created a super team.
You can say Jordan had a super team that was constructed by the actual team. Yes. Bron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh. So if you're trying to compare them, there's a big difference between the two. And theirs was a little more.
Mike was responsible for Dennis Rodman joining the Bulls.
You said what?
Michael Jordan was responsible for Rodman joining the Bulls, bro.
You said Michael Jordan was responsible for Pippen.
For Dennis Rodman.
For Dennis Rodman.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Bron, Chris Bosh, and D-Wade all were in cahoots in joining together. Like Pippen and Jordan, they just grew together and drug Pippen. And drug Rodman on.
Pippen.
Like I can take a one. I can take a one off. Like if you're in your prime and you're bringing somebody on board, that's just good business. That's just good basketball.
And Ron Harper.
Cool, but that's not Ron Harper's not on the same level as Dennis Rodman. That's just a nice piece to bring on.
Bro, you gotta do your homework around Harper. He's not by Ron Harper was a 94-foot defensive lockdown player who can give you, like, he's not Dennis Rodman because Dennis Rodman was a part of. Dennis Rodman can't be your second or third best player on a championship team.
Dennis Rodman.
Ron, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Dennis Rodman was part of their trio, was part of their core, bro. When I say Dennis Rodman and Ron Harper are on different levels, like
you don't know Ron Harper's career, bro. You don't know what teams he played for, probably. You don't know what Ron Harper averaged for a career. You don't know what Ron Harper games like. This is unfair right here. Like Ron Harper was a dog.
I'm not going to have this discussion, Freddie, when I know that this man is especially as a scorer.
Kukoc was 6th man of the year for a reason.
It's higher than Ron Harper. Like, I'm sorry, that's not up for discussion, bro.
But Trey, let's be fair.
It's cool.
Let's be fair. No, because
what's going to happen is we're going to go completely left. And we already addressed the Michael Jordan and the
Bron. No, but I just want a complete genuine answer from you because I'm confused now. Listen, are we talking about this stuff from other people's perspective or just as true basketball minds observing the game and watching the game? Like me and you, like talking, not Because
Freddie,
obviously,
I already
if
gave you
we're
my
talking,
answer. I don't know what else you want, bro. Like you're
if
fishing
we're
way too
talking
hard.
top
Like you're the same.
75 and all
You are the
that,
same
then
guy that gives
yeah.
Draymond Green his praise when I try to say, "Oh, well, he's not better than this person," but now you're discrediting Dennis Rodman because you
I'm
think,
not
"Oh,
discrediting
Ron Harper."
Dennis
Yes,
Rodman.
yes,
How?
you are. That's
I'm saying you're
quite
discrediting
slanderous,
Ron Harper.
quite blasphemous.
He's a
And
top
like the fact that
75
you
player,
think Ron
bro. He's
Harper
our defensive
is
player of the
higher
year.
than Dennis Rodman, that's absurd. You need to go watch more basketball. And saying I didn't watch Ron Harper, my guy, I know who Ron Harper is. I even
Why
watched
are you
Ron Harper
discrediting Ron Harper and
Come
Tony
on, dog.
Kukoc,
Like,
their
come
6
on,
man
bro.
of the year?
Come on, bro. You lost me with that one. You lost me with that
You're
one.
discrediting their 6 man of the year,
You
and you're discrediting Ron Harper.
I'm discrediting a 6-man. Okay, that's cool. That's fine.
I'm just asking a
Like,
question.
That's completely fine. Like, okay, who?
I'm literally asking a question. You ain't giving me an answer. Like you're
I've
discrediting.
already given you the answer, bro. Like
No, you
my answer is Dennis Rodman. Like Dennis Rodman is higher than Ron Harper. I said that. That's my answer. I've been stating that. I don't know what else you need me to say for you. Like I don't know what else you want.
So if you're starting a team, you're grabbing Dennis Rodman over Ron Harper. You're saying you don't know who else is on your team, but you know one of those guys can be your first pick. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just I can replace Ron Harper a lot easier than I can replace Dennis Rodman.
Really?
How many people would sit up there and do all the stuff that Dennis Rodman did? Never
mind. I just wanted you to do that. That was just a trap because of how you be talking about Draymond. It's because I'm not. Now, mind you. Bro, nah. That was, listen, I did that for Draymond Green specifically, but we gonna move on. Because I don't be liking the way you be popping off about Draymond. But it's all right, man. Because I'll be liking the way you pop off about Draymond, but you just answered
I said that's funny when you bring up Draymond for all the stuff he does, and when I say, oh, someone else is better, you'll say no because Draymond does this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
Just because you score, there are quality things that Ron Harper brings. There are quality things that Dennis Rodman brings.
Both of them, yeah.
And I saw a lot of stuff from Dennis Rodman that I did not. Granted, you can say the same thing about Ron Harper. Ron Harper can be a better scorer, but it's not like Dennis Rodman can't score. Like if you told me,
he can't.
He can't.
No. He's shooting 30% from the field, bro.
My God, you act like hustle isn't a thing. Like on
but you say he can't score.
I don't need on a team. I don't need him, Dennis Rodman. Meaning, I don't need to set a play for him at all. He's going to get me my rebound. He's going to defend whomever, and he's going to get me my putbacks. Like he know, like that's what I love. Like I can get a quality 11 point and 12 rebounds out of Dennis Rodman. Nope, that's wild. Okay.
No, look at his number, bro. He's at 4, 7, 6. Like, and he'll give you 14 boards, 17 boards, 18 boards. He'll lock something up too. But he's not going to score for you, bro. Now, Harper's going to lock down your perimeter player and give you 25. That's all I'm saying. But I agree with everything you were saying about Rodman until you said he probably had like 1 year. I think early on he had like 1 year when he averaged double digits, then like a 9. And then he was 2s and 4s and 6s and 2, 4, 6, 8s. Who do we appreciate?
But his rebounds, so I said 11 and 12. Man. Bro, his rebounds were close to 20.
Yeah. No, but
like
that's
15 to 20. So
you,
if you get me that many rebounds, like what is Ron Harper going to do that's going to usurp? He's
going to score 20 points and he's going to lock down your best perimeter player.
Is Ron Harper going to be my best scorer though? Like no, I can replace Ron Harper. That's my point. I can't replace. Tell me how many players actually get this many rebounds. Not even Rudy Gobert gets that many rebounds.
15 rebounds?
Huh?
15 rebounds?
15 to 19, because that's what this man did, and he led the league in rebounds.
But bro,
1, 2,
so here
3,
we go.
4,
now
5,
listen.
6,
now
7
look at his free throw percentage and look at his shooting percentage.
You want to bring up Draymond's too while you at it? Because is it all about? Can we point out everything this man does as a whole?
No, Trey. We can. Draymond shoots twice as good as percentage as him from the free throw line, from the field. Draymond gets dimes. Draymond can run your offense. Draymond actually can shoot some 3-pointers. Now, Draymond's averaged 14 1 year. Like we can do that.
What year was that though? Oh,
What?
you mean 2015, right? That 1 year. Like, see, you love.
What do you average 11 1 year?
For one person, but then trying to discredit them with another.
But
Saying, oh, you only got one.
But Trey, Draymond can actually shoot. Draymond is actually more of a threat on offense. Draymond, like, if Dennis Rodman gives you 6 points, you're like, yo. But Draymond's also going to give you the blocks, the steals. He's also going to be able to do all the things on defense. He's not going to give you 15 rebounds every night. He's going to give you more like 8, but he's going to give you 7 dimes. He's going to run your offense. He's going to be a threat from 3. He's not going to shoot 30% from the free throw line and 40% from the field. Like, that's all. That's all I'm saying. Bro, look, Dennis Rodman is very good, bro, for what he did. Very good. He's a menace, bro. The myth that he shut down Shaq is just a myth, but he was a menace, bro. That's all, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. What Harper did, bro, 25, and he's a lockdown defender. I think that's amazing. If you telling me I'm starting my team and I don't know what else is happening, give me Harper. Because Harper can defend as well. We'll have to figure out the rebounds, through...
Neither one of these players are going to be your first pick. No, Neither one of these players are ever going to be your first pick. So the fact that you're trying to say, like, that's not a reasonable selection. Like, you got to make it reasonable. These boys are third, fourth option, best case. So you have to put who's my first, second option? Okay, well, I'm gonna go Ron Harper.
But listen,
those two other players probably can't. Not Ron.
So if we got a pool of 300 or 400 people and we're number 299 or 399, and these are two of the last. Granted, they wouldn't be that low, but are probably the 2 best players left on the board. Hey, that's all I'm saying, bro.
I'm going Dennis Rodman. I promise you, I already have somebody who replaces Ron Harper with ease.
Now go back into Ron Harper's heyday when he's putting up 25, right? How many
Never put up 25.
What are 22, 20?
22, 23.
Right, so come on. Very semantics.
But not, you don't like it when someone says never.
But what did I do?
You always be like, oh, he never did that. No, he has.
Oh yeah, but Bosh won't put up 20. That's all. Bosh won't put up 20. 20 sounds better than 18, bro. But no, so 23. How many players was averaging 23 the year Ron Harper did it?
I don't know. I haven't looked that up. But
okay. And I don't know off the top of my head. I'm gonna tell you now, it ain't gonna be many. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
But
then I'm gonna ask you
if you want to talk about someone,
how many other? Huh?
The reason why I don't credit that highly. Granted, I'm not trying to say these two players are comparable, right? Like Ron Harper does a lot, but you're harping on that scoring tip. And again, from the guard perspective, I really kind of want my guard to just do some playmaking, hit a casual shot or two.
Oh my God!
And defend. No, for real. Like, what does Chris Paul do? He scores, but he doesn't.
But bro, that's your point guard. Ron Harper, that's your pure point guard. Some teams have that. Some teams. What Ron Harper did was good for Cleveland. Was good for the Clippers. You don't want a guard that can't score?
I said what I want for my point guard. I'm giving my personal preference. Okay. So when I'm getting Ron Harper, I'm seeing 22, 23 points. I'm looking at a Devontae Graham. Nowadays, like, all right, he threw up 18 points casually, inefficient as hell, didn't defend the ball the same way, but he threw up 18 points. He playmaking the ball. Like, there's somebody out there who can replicate this for me. I've seen these stats.
There's somebody who's going to average those numbers.
Hell, Drew Holiday can damn near
Drew
give
Holiday's
me that.
Amazing. Drew Holiday's a champion.
And that's cool. Would you rather have Drew Holiday or Dennis Rodman? I'm taking Dennis Rodman.
We can talk about it. We can definitely talk about that.
I'm taking Dennis Rodman because, again, you are not going to find too many Dennis Rodmans. I just rattled off Drew Holiday as a comparison to Ron Harper. And Drew Holiday is a good player. But like
he's a very good player, yeah.
But you can afford to lose him. I can't afford to lose a Dennis Rodman in that scenario, in my opinion. Like if I have to choose between those two, I'm not losing Dennis Rodman.
Drew Holiday is an all-defensive elite defender, bro. He's a two-way player that can give you 20 and at times run your offense and lock up versus the guy who's going to lock up and rebound, but on the other end, he's unplayable on offense pretty much.
Unplayable is very
and
crazy.
can't shoot free throws. You can hack a Shaq, and we just talked about Shaq.
Unplayable is very crazy because I'm seeing nowadays where people catch extremely amount of lobs, pick and roll.
But
like,
that's
come
not
on
what
now,
he
bro.
did, bro. I'm just going off what his game was, man. Because I can say,
what?
okay, that's not what his game was. We're going off what his game is.
What do you mean? If we're putting him in with people today, like if you're talking about comparing everybody today, you mean tell me somebody's not gonna do a pick and roll with Dennis Rodman for real,
bro? But listen,
that wasn't happening back.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. 6'6" guys don't run pick and rolls, bro. He's 6'6" guys don't run pick and rolls.
But he was listed as a power forward, and correct me if I'm wrong. Draymond does pick and rolls, and he's 6'6", 6'7".
He picks and pops more than pick and rolls, but
I think it sounds like we agree to disagree on that one though. That was interesting.
Yeah,
I'll give that.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
But now we went a little long though. That was a that was a good one. But
yeah, that's why. Jesus. Well, let's see. That's what happened, bro. That's what happened. But I'm sure you ain't gonna need to upload this whole. I think we're just shooting the shit after a point.
Yeah, I think I might end up just making this part like a separate video at some point in time, or I may just take pieces of it and then just make it a lot shorter on this section. Yeah. Like because like the main part was covered a lot earlier. We went on a tangent. So I'm like,
yeah, we just shooting the shit, bro. Literally.
Yeah. But like it was still good combos. Like I think if I clip it up, you could like I can like produce it out and be like, all right, that's interesting take or this, that, and the third. So I'm gonna see how I feel. But the actual episode is something that I plan on having drop. Like it more than likely won't cover this. So.
Yeah. No. Again, that was a whole different. I just wanted to take on a whole mic thing. That's a can of worms to be open. Once you start talking about that, there's a million different ways you can go with that. So
facts, bro. What I'm realizing is every time you bring up Mike, not you, I'm talking about in general, Mike, Bron, Kobe, like that's always going to carry on a long discussion.
Right.
There was an hour and a half discussion solely on the bubble chip, like that, and it's wild because I kept regurgitating the same thing. Oh, I gave my point of view. I'm talking about the future of the Lakers. I don't care that we won. Again, you know where I stand on that. I'm just regurgitating the same stuff, and it's like. Damn, why are we talking so long about this? Like you get more passionate, you get heated, you get lost in the conversation. So it's that's always the trick. So for anybody who's watching, if you ever want to have a long conversation or a short conversation, Bron, Kobe, all those controversial ones may be the way to go or not go. So yeah. But Freddie, I do appreciate you coming on the show yet again, my guy.
Sir,
it's always a good time.
Appreciate it.
You guys can find him on Leave It to Me Sports segment again. He's back up there, I'm gonna keep saying he's back up there, even if
back up there, man.
He back up there. Check him on his IG. Fred, you got anything you want to say before we close out?
No, man. Just looking forward to more conversations like this, man. It's getting around that time of the year. Football is coming up. Basketball is always a topic worth talking about. So. Just keep your eyes open and keep your ears open and be on the lookout for more conversations like this because I'm sure he got a lot to say and I'm always willing to push back on some of his takes.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you always coming on the show, my guy. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will head off. So appreciate you guys. But like you said, hope you all have a good one. So take care.
Until next time. All right.
I did not know you guys were still here. As you can see, we're at the back end of the show. No pun intended, but look, hope you all enjoyed it. And before you go, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the IG account, share the content to anybody who's anybody. And most importantly, leave your thoughts and comments below. But I got to go back and play Buddy in 2K, so let me unmute him real quick. Excuse me. Hey, boss, I'm back. Nah, you better catch this word. We get buckets around here, kid.